announcement by DeSantis last night. We're going to get into all that. Oh, my goodness. What an embarrassment. I told you guys that was a bad idea yesterday. All right, here we go. Oh, man. In a word, describe the DeSantis announcement on Twitter Spaces. I'm curious what you guys think. Here we go.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
Hey guys, welcome to the program. I am Brian. It is Thursday morning, May 25th, 2023. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Was that a great launch for DeSantis on Twitter Spaces last night? Oh my goodness. I told you all yesterday that was a bad idea. And I know they've got all kinds of spin going on here. You know, he broke the internet. I was there live, all right? And let me tell you what happened. And I'm going to play you a bit of a montage of it in just a bit, which, to play the launch of Ron DeSantis' announcement, you know, Mike, I got to tell you, the phones might be ringing from station management because it was so bad. I'm serious about this. If I ran this by station management, they would say that Ron DeSantis' announcement breaks every rule of broadcasting. You can't play that on the air, and they're probably right. So if the red phone starts ringing, Mike, in the control room, you'll know that we're, you know. But I'm going to play it, and maybe they're not up yet. Maybe management's not up yet. I'm going to play it in a few minutes. Don't worry. Yeah, and I'm serious. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. And they've got all kinds of spin. He broke the internet's the first one. Well, I was there live. And what had happened was there were about 500,000 people when it first went live. And then it kept dropping out and dropping out and dropping out. And about 15 minutes into dropouts, because it kept dropping out and coming back, dropping out and coming back, there were over 600,000. And the reason and which crashed it even more, and the reason the numbers got higher and higher is because word was spreading around the world on the Twitter that Ron DeSantis' campaign launch was a disaster, and people that don't even know who the guy is were tuning in to hear this disaster. And I'm a big fan and supporter of Elon Musk, the richest African American. But when I see the disaster of the Twitter Spaces launch of Ron DeSantis' campaign, it really does get me to question the moon landing again. I know a lot of people question the moon landing. Humans can't survive through the radiation belt. I don't. Stanley Kubrick did it. And Elon Musk is planning a return to the moon and to Mars. And if they can't get that going, can they really go to the moon? I don't know. I really don't know. So it wasn't a breaking of the internet. It was just a complete disaster. By the way, Ron DeSantis was not the first person to launch his campaign on Twitter Spaces. Robert Kennedy Jr. was, for those, I know the media don't want to tell you that. Now, and a lot of people are now looking to blame Elon Musk for not being prepared and the servers couldn't handle it. This is not Elon Musk's problem. This is the problem of Ron DeSantis and those around him. You know, when you do something like that, you would do test runs, you would do everything. You would not make your launch in such an unknown new platform and venue using a new technology, a new system and everything, unless you were 10,000% sure that it would work. And the disaster of Ron DeSantis' launch is a statement on him and those around him. And you got to understand, when you're talking about a presidential campaign, the people that are working on that campaign, if that candidate wins, end up being the White House chief of staff, the secretary of this, the secretary of that. These are not the kind of people you want to put in charge of anything. It was really an embarrassment. In fact, I would say that it was the biggest fail of any presidential campaign launch in history. And one thing about running for president, there's one point in a candidate's run that will destroy them no matter who they are. It's when they become an object of ridicule. And once someone becomes a laughingstock, an object of ridicule, which Ron DeSantis did yesterday, it's over for them and they don't recover. It happened to John Kerry with my Swift Boat Veterans for Truth ad that everybody and their brother wants to take credit for that I created. Dukakis in the tank. Al Gore had several incidents that he became a mockery for. I'm not going to rehash the whole history of these things. But it's bad. It's something you cannot recover from. You know, even remember when Marco Rubio did the response to the Obama State of the Union, and he kept drinking the water, and he was trying to make a joke after that, weeks after. It just doesn't work. It doesn't fly. But here's the other thing about it. They got it going about 25 minutes late. They finally got it going. And the guy that was co-hosting it, I'd forgotten his name, is Sachs. Because this guy's, and there's some things about this guy. David Sachs, who was hosting it, he was kind of like the main driver between Elon Musk and DeSantis. You know, he donated to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and Mitt Romney's presidential campaign. So I put him in the never Trumper category. Okay, just so you all know. Just so you know that. But he goes way back, I guess, with Elon. He was at PayPal, and he's originally from South Africa, I understand. But when they finally got it going, it was just a disaster, and there were very few people compared to the peak by the time they got it going, David Sachs says, so I understand you have some kind of announcement. And Ron DeSantis went in this very long-winded speech that sounded like he was reading it because he was, and it was so boring and wooden. And here's the thing, you know, if you are listening to me, you've known Ron DeSantis for a long time. You've been following him. You know, maybe you've lived in Florida all this time, and he's our governor, and you know him, or you've been to an event. Maybe you were at Wings Plus with me and Governor DeSantis right before the election. You know, all these things. But for most people in America and in the world, the Twitter Spaces was their first introduction to Ron DeSantis, right? Their first introduction. And it was a disaster that he will not recover from. And you know, President Trump has hired a lot of people that used to work around DeSantis, and they have said, I had a story about this a couple weeks ago I read through on the air, that the Trump's campaign staffers that know DeSantis, worked with DeSantis and all of that, they've said that he's got a very thin skin and he's easily triggered and all of this business. That humiliation was very well the biggest humiliation a presidential candidate has ever experienced live. And it not just so many people saw it yesterday, people are going to continue to talk about it today and through the weekend. And that's going to drive him nuts. He did an interview after on Fox, which was also wooden and pathetic, and Fox even had one of their third raters doing it. They didn't even have Hannity do it. But it was a disaster. And think about this. His first introduction to America, and it was that. Boom. It's over for DeSantis before it began. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I've been very ticked at him and disappointed and all kinds of emotions towards Ron DeSantis because of his outrageous behavior. And I don't feel sorry for him at all. He did this to himself. He should have stayed on the Trump train. But you know what? He's not the only traitor we found out about. I got a new one I'm going to tell you about in a bit. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. When we get back, I will take your calls. I want to hear your thoughts on DeSantis' disastrous launch of his presidential campaign yesterday. My name's Brian. This is The Steve Kane Show. This is where MAGA comes to talk. This is the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio. People say, you say that too much, Brian. Why do you say that all the time? Because it's something to be proud of. The longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. And thank all of you out there who support our radio station and have been with this show over the years, because you guys have made it possible. All right, we'll take our break and be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action.
Oh, yeah, my wife is doing well. I mentioned yesterday what had happened was she had a test done. She had to go to the emergency room on Saturday for something, and they did some tests, and the doctor basically gave her an emergency, almost a death sentence, the emergency room doctor. So we took her to her specialist in Miami, and the doctor in the emergency room had misread the test results. Practically gave my wife a heart attack, and I've been sick and not sleeping for days. I'm not feeling well today. It's because of the stress of that emergency room doctor. Yeah, so she's doing well. Now, Kathy and I will be catching up over the weekend on podcast episodes, so make sure you guys click the notification bell, and you will get caught up on podcast over the weekend. Yeah, that was a disaster. That was a disaster. I mean, there was just... Let me see here. Oh. Yeah, it was a very detailed test of her heart, and the emergency room doctor gave her a bad diagnosis, which freaked her out. Wow, Rome. Yeah, I mean, I am not doing well this week because of the stress of what that ER doctor told us. I took her to the ER Saturday morning at 6 a.m. That's why I didn't live stream over the weekend. And by the time, at about 8 o'clock in the morning, we got this bad test result, and and then I took her to the doctor Tuesday. Couldn't get until Tuesday because it was the weekend, couldn't get an appointment until Monday, her specialist in Miami. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I didn't sleep, I've been sick, and I still haven't really recovered from it. You know, it takes like a toll on your body. So, I know it is horrible. Especially, Kathy's already got a heart condition, you know, to give her information like that.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire.
Well, the insurance will pay for it. Her insurance, Kathy's got good insurance. Won't cost us anything. Other than the insurance payments, I guess.
977-9445.
But that kind of stress could take a toll on the body. I mean, I am like not even recovered from it yet.
On 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. You know, I know we're not in hurricane season yet, rainy season, but it's raining pretty much every day, isn't it? Oh my goodness. If you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you have a leak in your roof. And you know what happens? You know, you got a little wet spot on your ceiling. It's about the size of a quarter. You know what happens if you ignore it? That little spot, it becomes a bigger spot. Next thing you know, well, there's another spot. Then there's another. A spot here, a wet spot there, a wet spot everywhere, and you got a massive leak in your roof, and it can be a disaster. You want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. You know, he serves both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. And we met Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting because Steve had a wet spot on his ceiling and ignored it. You know, you got a wet spot on your ceiling, that means you got a leak in your roof. You may just need a simple repair. Steve ignored it. Not only did he have to get a whole new roof, 40% of the drywall in his home was infested with deadly black mold. I know. I was over at Steve's house and I smelled mold, but I didn't know it was black mold. I didn't say anything because, you know, I didn't want to, you know, embarrass him. But, you know, when you're living in that, you don't even notice it because the smell changes so gradually. You're used to it. They didn't even know. So he had to get a new roof, 40% of the drywall replaced, and he had this massive termite infestation because the wetness from the leaks is a breeding ground for termites. So they were eating his house, and it was a lot of work. It really was, and there was a lot more damage too than what I'm telling you. But just for time, I'm just limiting it to that. But Tom Laporta will never he will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. And it's amazing. We had a listener call in. He had an HOA big condo building. He had other roofing guys come out. They all told him he needed a new roof. Because a new roof is like $250,000, $500,000. Tom Laporta came out and said, no, you just need a simple repair. Isn't that something? That's absolutely amazing. Give him a call, and you want to take care of those wet spots and things before the hurricane season hits. Because, oh boy, got a little damage in that roof. All it needs, a little wind to get in there, and boom, the whole roof's gone during the hurricane, and you're in big trouble. Now, this number I'm going to give you rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll take good care of you. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com. All right, we're talking about the disastrous launch of the DeSantis campaign yesterday. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. Oh, boy, what a disaster. It was like the Hindenburg.
If the launch is a sign of the things to come for Ron DeSantis, he ought to drop out now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you believe that a man as brilliant as Elon Musk never tested that before and just put it out there? Or was it done on...
Listen, this is not Elon Musk's fault. This is Ron DeSantis' fault. The buck stops here, Harry Truman said. When you want to be the leader of the free world, right, and you have a launch like that, you do it in a very, very safe way. You know, if you've followed this show over the years, we've been at different radio studios, and, you know, here we're now in the most advanced radio studio, probably in the Florida radio market. I mean, we have this advanced high-tech radio studio that every day I come in here and I'm like mesmerized by this. And we didn't just come up here to the radio station and move into it. We did some test runs. We were using the backup studio. We did a test run one day, didn't have to, so we went back and engineers were working on it. They were here on the weekends, all kinds of things. If we were being introduced to the nation for the very first time like that, what would the future be like? I mean, this is what you got to understand, Jeff. To you and I, we've been following DeSantis for a while. To most people, that was their introduction to Ron DeSantis. And it was a disaster. You understand what I mean? It's a disaster.
That's a great point, Brian. And another saying I'm hearing a lot is Ron DeSantis can't beat Donald Duck. How's he going to beat Donald Trump? Yeah,
Carrie Lake started that. I like that. I like that. I was saying if you can't beat Mickey Mouse, how can you beat? How can you take on Putin? And then Carrie Lake came out with the best. If you can't beat Donald Duck, how can you beat Donald Trump? And don't let any. Yeah, go ahead.
I just believe that a lot of what he did to us, we the people in the Republican Party, is just coming back on him because, he's just getting what he deserves.
Well, he's a Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold was a hero of the revolution until he betrayed us. Okay, and things didn't turn out well for Benedict Arnold. He had to live the rest of his life in England as a humiliated traitor. This is what happens. This is what happens.
I wonder where Ron's going to go after he drops out of the nomination. Is he going to stay in Florida? Because everybody in Florida is not going to like him.
Well,
does he know he's going to lose, and does he have a backup? Is he going to join the Republican rhinos?
Well, I'm very curious how this plays out because these big money guys behind him Are they going to continue to support and invest money into something like that? I mean, that was, and I'm here to tell you, I've been following this stuff for a long time, and there have been moments in presidential campaigns that have been embarrassing, whether it's Admiral Stockdale or Bush 1 looking at his watch during the debate with Bill Clinton. There's been moments, but nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest humiliation for any Republican that I can remember.
Or Democrat. No, there has never been, I cannot, and I'm throwing this out to you guys, and if someone has an example of something equally or more humiliating for a presidential candidate, let me know. I know there's a lot of embarrassing moments or there's things that we've mocked, but there's never been a fail like that. I once was a part of, on the technical end, I was part of I did some of the technical and running the board for an interview that Larry King did with Bill Clinton when he was president, that broadcast on hundreds of radio stations nationwide. And that was, if we would have brought on Bill Clinton and it went that way, it would have been over for all of us. It would have been over. Everyone would have been axed. I've been in the control room for Dolphin games and things, and at other radio stations. And if I had something like that happen when I was running the board during a Miami Dolphin game, I would have been done. As would the person who hired me and put me in that position probably too. The media. It's interesting because the media are so jealous of this Twitter Spaces launch thing in the beginning. I hope they really get into the meat of what happened.
And can I say one more thing?
Of course.
If Ron DeSantis is the closest thing to beating Trump, and this happened to him, why have a Republican nomination? Because there ain't nobody close to DeSantis, and DeSantis is not even close to Trump.
I think it's officially over for Ron DeSantis before it began. Yeah, false start, failed to launch, and they've already, it's been hashtag, the hashtag disaster has been trending since last night during this event. Don Jr. started, and it's trending disaster, and that's true. Hey, Jeff, take care. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our bottom of the hour break, come back with your calls. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Oh, it's bad. It was bad, guys. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. Does anyone have an example of a presidential campaign having a live event and something like that happening? That bad, equally as bad or worse? I can't think of one. If you can, let me know. Yeah, Jeff's calls are always good. Jeff has very good calls. Yeah, this picture, this is an amazing picture. I took this picture. This is on Inauguration Day, and President Trump, this is in the Beast, the presidential limo, as he drove by me. I took this on my iPhone, I was vlogging, and I was just taking pictures, and I got this one, which is spectacular. And this was possibly well, without question, this was one of the last pictures taken of his first term. This was the last 10 to 15 minutes of his first term when I snapped this picture. It's a good one. This is the wallpaper picture on my Truth Social. Yeah. And a listener actually sent me this shirt, had this shirt made and sent it to me. But that's an amazing picture. Yeah, and I wasn't zoomed in. I was this close to him in the Beast. The windows on the Beast are about this thick, too, and it's still...
way too.
Go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. Experience awe-inspiring landscapes and traverse the great Canadian Rocky Mountains on the Rocky Mountain Train with bi-level glass dome coaches, August 15th to the 20th. The only passenger rail service that runs on a historic rail route connecting Canada from east to west. Are you ready to embark on this unforgettable journey? Head to briantrain.com and request a brochure. Book your spot now.
No, Elon Musk did not know this would happen. He would not do this to himself. But don't let them start blaming Elon Musk. You got to blame DeSantis. It's his call. He wanted to be all hip and do things in a different way and be Joe Cool and modern and be the nominee for the younger people. And he went out and blew it. Doing a Twitter Spaces is fine, but not as the launch.
On the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Give them a call, 954-906-5983.
Remember President Trump's spectacular announcement for this campaign at Mar-a-Lago? That was beautiful.
That's where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. They will test for both environmental and food allergies. No appointment is necessary. And make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing and Building Restoration. We have been in the roofing and construction industry for 40 years. We are originally...
Oh, yeah. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I've been so pissed at DeSantis for this whole thing. I'm sorry.
Concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. We work with homeowners, HOAs, commercial...
You know, it's one thing being humiliated, okay, and being embarrassed and dealing with it. It's another thing being humiliated in front of so many people. And then the humiliation continues because there's endless discussion on TV, radio, online about it. Everyone's going to be talking about this today, just like I'm doing. They were talking about it last night. It'll continue.
4602 or visit us on our website at laportacontracting.com. That number again is 954-604-4602.
Brian Craig here. Do you admire Donald Trump, the greatest president ever, as much as I do? Then I've got just the thing for you. A spectacular print of Donald Trump that's hanging proudly in my home. This stunning artwork comes from the paintbrush of Michael Israel. He's the world's finest live-action speed painter. It's available in multiple sizes. 16 by 20, and this is a must-have.
It's just exciting. It could not have happened to a nicer guy. Ron DeSantis blew it.
Trump's re-election campaign. It makes a great gift too. Visit patrioticprintsusa.com. That's patrioticprintsusa.com. And let's make America great again. patrioticprintsUSA.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years on the air.
All right, yes. Callers on hold, stand by. We're talking about the disaster of Ron DeSantis' launch, the worst launch of a presidential campaign in the history of presidential campaign launches. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike. Oh, boy.
Man, I mean, the only two things that can, be this way is that think about it. The whole thing was where's the beef, and the guy in 1984 they ran against Reagan, and of course the Dukakis looking tough trying to ride in that tank.
I think, was it in 1984? Was that Walter Mondale that ran against Reagan in 84? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he was Carter's vice president, and Walter Mondale's daughter had sex with Bill Clinton at the White House, and Monica Lewinsky showed up at the White House. They wouldn't let her in because Bill Clinton was alone with Walter Mondale's daughter. Yeah. I know. That was a disaster yesterday for Ron. I don't think he can recover from it. What do you think?
I don't think he can recover from it either. And let's do a little bit of a comparison. Go back to just before Trump comes down the magic escalator, the golden escalator, right? And what was happening at the time? He was still on Twitter, and Twitter was still owning, and Periscope was still going around, right? It was still working, right? So just and
no idea what
Trump
Mike's
didn't
talking about.
go to Twitter and didn't go to Periscope to announce. He did it the normal way.
Well, you want to do it in a way where there are not technical problems that could possibly happen. You know, like Tim Scott, his staff made a stupid mistake. They gave him a wireless mic and they didn't check the batteries. If I were there, first off, we wouldn't have been using a wireless mic. We would have used a wired mic because there could be fewer problems, and we would have tested it 1,000 times. Second, even when I come into the studio in the morning, we come in here and we check everything. Mike comes in, looks it over. I check too. We all check. We double check. Every day before I go on the air, we do a whole check, including even on my cell phone, I call our 888-GO-CANE-1 number to make sure the phone's working and is going through. I'm playing sound bites. I test those on the board to make sure the audio's. There's a whole thing. Tim Scott, if he insisted on using a wireless mic, which I would have recommended he not do because there could be problems, I would have put a new battery in it. They gave him a wireless mic, the battery went dead. That's why they had that problem. But, there's all kinds of things. When you're a professional, there's things that you do to safeguard against humiliation. And if you can't beat Donald Duck, how are you going to beat Donald Trump? And if you have a campaign launch like that, I mean, my goodness, Biden in the basement with his launch was 1,000 times better than that one.
Oh, sure, and that's the thing. This Ron DeSantis is, and what they don't understand, these people, is that he's lost Florida. If he can't win Florida, he's not going to win anything.
That's right. He's 28 points behind President Trump in Florida, DeSantis in the latest Florida poll among Republicans. All right, thanks for the call, man, Mike in Louisiana. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sean, California.
Hey, you're on the air. What's up?
Well, I'm going kind of a little bit of a humorous route for you. What would be more cringeworthy? What happened to DeSantis or Primetime 99 Alex Stein triple target in the top one piece?
Okay, I don't really get the humor part. I mean, I know who Alex Stein is, but I just don't, I don't know. All right, take care. All right. I thought people in California had talent and were creative people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. Once. Twice. Yes, all right, you just made it. Yes, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, what is this, a redo of the DeSantis launch last night? This sounds like this is almost as bad as the DeSantis launch, this call.
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Philly.
All right, what's up, Mike?
Listen, I got a question, and nobody's addressing this. I really believe that Trump won the...
I don't know listen, listen, this is what's going on here. It's happened twice already. Have you noticed what's happened? I got an ear for this. Have you seen what's happened here? We've got the, seminar callers. They want to talk about everything but what happened with DeSantis. You're not going to get us off of it. Okay, now I got to give you a warning, okay? I have a montage here of the DeSantis Twitter Spaces campaign launch, all right? Now, playing this audio, the audio of Governor Ron DeSantis and his announcement on Twitter Spaces last night, playing this goes against every rule in broadcasting, all right? There's dead air. There's very terrible sounds and echoes that you're getting. There's a feedback loop right in the beginning. So, I got to tell you, I mentioned this at the top. This launch is going to confuse people listening on the radio, but bear with us. People got to hear how bad it is. I went through the news this morning, and they're talking about it, but they're not really playing it. And the reason they're not playing it, they'll play a clip here or there, is because it goes against every rule of broadcasting to play it. So, but I am going to play it. It's a montage I put together. This is, there's no parody or anything going on here. This is exactly what happened. This is it starts from the very beginning. The Twitter Spaces campaign announcement of Ron DeSantis yesterday. Listen to this, and it starts with the feedback loop. Oh my.
Now it's quiet.
Do you hear them whispering? You hear them whispering? This is the host sitting next to Elon Musk after the feedback loop. Listen.
Now it's quiet.
It's quiet. You hear that? It's crazy. Here it goes.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, depending on wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Twitter headquarters. It's David Sachs here. Elon is sitting next to me, and we want to welcome you to this historic Twitter Spaces event, and more broadly, a first in the history of social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the.
Boom, and it cut out again, and this is the first period of dead air. Which, you know, a second of dead air in broadcasting is deadly. This goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And, yeah, no sound Ron. That might be another name we can give to him. Let me fast forward a little bit here. This is the actual Twitter Spaces launch of Ron DeSantis. All right, here we go. They're coming back.
All right, sorry about that. We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers, which is a good sign. All right, I'd like to just introduce the folks in the room here. So it's safe to say we wouldn't be making history without the man sitting next to me, Elon Musk. His decision to purchase this platform last year to restore it to its original mission as a beacon for free speech, and even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly a quarter century.
Now you hear this? Now we've got two pieces of audio playing over. His butt kissing of Elon Musk is interrupted by now we've got other sound coming in while he's talking.
To purchase this platform last year to restore it to its original mission as a beacon for free speech, and even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly a quarter century. His commitment to freedom is willing to put his money where his mouth is, upset the narrative imposed on us by our government, elite institutions, and corporate media. Go ahead and send a heart up if you want to say thank you, Elon.
Oh, my goodness.
Governor DeSantis first drew my attention and support when I saw how he responded to the COVID pandemic, and refused to believe what we now know to be the many falsehoods that government experts, their media mouthpieces, were feeding us. He kept Florida's schools open and its economy thriving, while my state of California chose 2 years of learning loss and lockdowns that we have yet to fully.
Okay, now it just cut out again. This is not edited or anything. This is how, you know, I have edited down the dead space because it would be off for quite a long period of time. But right now, they cut out again after the second reboot. I mean, this is you want to give this guy, Ron DeSantis, the nuclear football? You know, one important thing, I'm talking over the dead air here because they cut out right in the middle. They haven't even gotten to the announcement yet. You know, one thing about a president that's very important, and this is very true, is their ability to hire top people in their field to so they can delegate things. And this is just everyone around DeSantis that was a part. This is still the dead air I'm talking over, okay? I'm looking here at the audio wave, and I can see it's still dead air. It's coming back in a moment. But this is a statement on his poor ability at hiring staff who allowed this embarrassment to happen. All right, now this is the Twitter Spaces. Okay, let's go. They're coming back now. It's going to come back on briefly. Here we go. Stand by.
Let's see, so, yeah, I think so. Just to simplify that.
Okay, and it cuts out again. More dead air. Here, it's going to come back.
I think we're just going to use your.
Now it's out again. Can you believe this? This is DeSantis' campaign launch. Here it goes.
I think we're just going to use your.
Oh my goodness! Now it's cut out again. Now this is the last. Now this took place over 25 minutes about, and I've condensed it a little bit just for time. So okay, now we're in dead air again, right? Here we go. Back.
There's 392,000 people in the room.
All right, great. So let's see.
So things keep crashing, huh?
Yeah, I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's serves as training somewhat.
Okay, and now eventually they got it going. It was about 20 to 25 minutes into it. And the problem with that is when DeSantis finally got on, he had this wooden written canned speech that he gave, which was wooden and boring and nothing we haven't heard before. A disaster. Callers on hold, stand by. Our number 1-888-GO-CANE-1. We want to keep things to the topic at hand. Open phones is tomorrow, guys. All right, we'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth.
I mean, that's...
Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Experience awe-inspiring landscapes.
I mean, tell me in a word how you would describe the launch of Ron DeSantis.
With bi-level glass dome coaches.
I mean, think about it. I mean, it's just insane.
The only passenger rail service that runs on a historic rail route connecting Canada from east to west. Are you ready to embark on this unforgettable journey? Head to briantrain.com and request a brochure. Book your spot now and make memories that
No,
will
it's
last
brutal.
a lifetime.
It's just brutal.
briantrain.com and request a
Painful.
brochure.
Yeah.
This is Lori Kane.
That's a good
When
one.
people go to the dentist, they think of the pain, but the biggest pain is the cost.
Do you feel bad for Ron DeSantis? I do not.
The dental work is painless, and the prices are painless too. Call today, 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633.
Unprepared. Yeah. Yeah. That's the guy who's gonna save us from this rapid inflation. He's gonna stop Putin in China, right? Ron DeSantis. Yeah, break. Tell me, yes or no? Can DeSantis recover from that? Yes or no? I say no, but you guys let me know what you think. Can DeSantis recover from that? Yes or no? I don't think he can. No, no. I agree, no way. See, a lot of time, I'll explain this when we get back. Oh, it was brutal. Oh, that is awful. That's the worst. That's worse than the Nixon-Kennedy debate. Nixon-Kennedy wasn't a launch. You know, Nixon had been vice president for Eisenhower for 8 years. So, you know, that wasn't his introduction to the country, you know. This is worse.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. I don't know, Mike. If we opened up the show like with 25 minutes of that, I think we'd be in trouble around here. You think? I think so. Oh my goodness. So now, yeah, I know we'd be in big trouble. 25 minutes of that? Oh my goodness. I might get in trouble just for playing just a few seconds of it. It's so bad. Now, if you're looking to lose weight, oh man, come on, who isn't, right? Yeah. You've tried so many things and failed. I get it. Don't feel bad. We have a solution for you. Elegant Youth, which is the expansion of Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, right next to Any Lab Test Now of Boca in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is. They have a new weight loss treatment. It's called semaglutide. Have you heard of semaglutide? It's absolutely amazing. It burns fat. It boosts your energy. It suppresses your appetite, balances your blood sugar, and promotes rapid weight loss. It's amazing, and it works. Give them a call, 561-717-8081. They're running incredible specials now for men and women for Father's Day. They have Father's Day specials, but they're offering them to the ladies too. 561-717-8081. 561-717-8081, and online, elegantyouthboca.com. All right, to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Cindy from the Tea Party in Morton County.
Hey, Cindy. Oh, man, a disaster for DeSantis, huh?
I knew it was going to be a disaster. It was such a...
Not that bad, though. None of us knew it'd be that bad.
Right, but I mean, and also it was so scripted. It was like he was reading out of a book.
It was.
Very dry.
A boring book.
Yeah, and I don't believe he is a threat. The polls are showing it. What I do worry about, though, is what's happening with Robert Kennedy Jr. and the story that he's taking the populist approach like Trump.
Well, I don't want to get sidetracked onto other things right now. I want to kind of focus on this.
DeSantis never mentioned once the
Yeah.
the American worker. I mean, the people who are suffering at the bottom, the middle class. He doesn't even mention it. It's like we're living in some sort of fairyland.
Because he doesn't care. He only cares about the donors. It's obvious. That's all he talks about. Why do you think he made this disastrous launch next to the richest man in the world? He only cares about rich people. And that's obvious. In fact, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, if that were me, and I went through that, he did an interview with Trey Gowdy on Fox News after, and I watched it this morning online, okay? And I didn't watch it on Fox, guys, but I have to be able to see some of these things to do my job, so, I get a special dispensation. I watched it on Twitter this morning. He didn't even, I would have been pissed at Elon Musk. If I were him, I would have said, listen, I like Elon Musk, but I put everything in his hands. He told me it would work and it failed. And he's trying to make a joke. Oh, I broke the internet and all this stuff. His reaction is pathetic. I remember Trump in a couple of rallies. There were some problems with the air conditioning, and there was a sound problem once. And he says, we're not going to, during the rally, he says, we're not going to pay the contractor. We're not going to pay I heard him say that more. Have you ever heard him say that in a rally? We're not going to pay for this. There was a problem with a microphone once. I'm not paying for the arena. There was a problem with the air conditioner. We're not paying. And boom, he turns it around on them, as you should. DeSantis, he wants to be the leader of the world here as president. And not only was the launch a disaster, his reaction to the launch is a disaster.
Of course. And that's why today there's a great story about how his net worth is only $320,000. And how does he take all these private jets?
That's a good question.
Money coming from?
Yeah.
You read it.
Yeah. I will look at it. Hey, listen, take care from the Tea Party and MAGA Martin County. And I'll tell you something. As this went on, the numbers went up of people that were trying to listen to the Twitter Spaces. It's like rubbernecking during a car crash on I-95, right? There's a car accident and it causes a traffic jam that's 10 miles long because of the rubberneckers. People love it. They love someone dying on the air. There was a guy that did a talk show in this market. I don't know if he's dead or alive. Mark Scheinbaum. Anyone remember Mark Scheinbaum? you probably, I know Al Knight does. Al Knight was his board op who does weekends on our radio station, noon to 4. Mark Scheinbaum was the most terminally boring no talent to ever host a radio show. And we had this no talent program director who, oh my goodness, who decided to put this guy on 5 days a week. And I remember Bob Grant heard him, and he couldn't believe. But remember, the great Bob Grant was friends with Steve. Steve took me out there to Bob Grant. Bob Grant said, "Who put this no talent on the air?" And I said, "Our program director, Peter Bolger." You know, and he's like, "My God, someone needs to fire that program director." And I used to listen to Mark Scheinbaum's show almost religiously. You know why? Because it was so bad. I wanted to see how bad it would get. It was a train wreck, a train crash every day. The show sucked. He sucked. He was a no talent. Oh my goodness. In fact, he ran into some trouble. Yes, there we go. We're getting the Twitter space action going on. He did a thing once. Things were so bad for his show that they didn't have any advertisers. So you know what he did? He started doing fake spots for restaurants that didn't exist on the air, and he got into some trouble. There was an article in the Palm Beach Post about it. He was talking about great deals at a restaurant that didn't exist, and people listening were driving around searching for these restaurants and couldn't find them. And the show was the Mark Scheinbaum show. And we used to have we made a joke about him. There was one guy, another radio guy, he was driving on the turnpike. He went about 15 miles past his exit listening to the Scheinbaum show because it was such a disaster, like the DeSantis Twitter spaces. And we came up with this term. We called it marcolepsy. Marcolepsy was a mental condition that people suffered to listening to this bad show. So the reason I'm sharing this, by the way, if you remember Mark Scheinbaum, give me a call because that would be shocking. But yeah. But the reason the numbers went up on the DeSantis Twitter Spaces launch as it went on is because word was spreading so fast that it was a disaster. And people want to see a train wreck. They want to see a plane crash. They want to see the car accident on the side of the road. When something's a disaster, when someone's dying on the air, that is very... I'll give you a great example. Last week, Steve and I got a little testy with each other. It was in the 8 o'clock hour. And Steve and I worked together for many years. We get along very well. But, hey, listen, sometimes, in the morning, people get cranky in the morning. Steve and I got a little testy. Steve was really pissed at me about something. And it was something I said about Zelensky, because Steve and I don't talk about Zelensky or Ukraine very much, because he loves Zelensky and all this. I shouldn't even say it now, because the very reference could cause another spat. But anyway, Steve came on the air, and he was plenty ticked because of what I said about Zelensky, and he was giving me a hard time, and it was getting kind of nasty. We went to the bottom of the hour break, and I said to the audience, I said, you remember this? This was, I don't remember what day it was last week, but it was last week. I said the next 30 minutes are going to be the most exciting minutes of radio you've probably ever heard. You guys remember this last week? I said it was because Steve and I had a little spat. And Steve was really kind of sabotaging me a little bit, I thought. I should even reference this on the air. Steve won't mind. He'll get it. We talked about it after. It's okay. It's just radio. And I said the next half hour is going to be fascinating radio for you to listen, but Steve and I are going to be suffering. Because of the little spat we were having, that next half hour was going to be the longest 30 minutes on the radio that either of us had experienced probably in a long time. But it's great, it's compelling listening because we were upset with one another, we were sabotaging one another, and it was like we were almost, I wouldn't, this is a little heavy, but maybe we're kind of dying a little bit on the air in that last segment because we were so upset with one another. And that's great listening to, I love listening to shows where the host is dying on the air. And that's why the numbers went up on DeSantis, right? That's why. And I remember we were having a technical problem at the old studios, And one of the guy that was in charge of all the technical stuff, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, all this." I said, "No, that's great." I said, "All that technical stuff, you know, it's messing up, and we're having all these kind of problems." I said, "No one's going to leave the radio. They're going to want to hear how bad it is." But I don't have ego problems like Ron DeSantis does. Okay, I don't, you know, things happen. I can, you know, I go with the speed bumps. It's what happens. Ron DeSantis has some ego problems. And when I watched that Trey Gowdy interview with him on Fox News, you could tell he was very off. He was humiliated, and Trey Gowdy didn't do the interview right. But believe me, the numbers did not go up because they were interested in DeSantis. They wanted to see how bad it would get. All right, call us on hold. Stand by. We'll take our break for the top and go when we get back. Right back to your calls. Don't go anywhere.
WWNN Pompano Beach. W. Meyer.
Oh, man. You guys get what I mean? Some of you may remember that last week, right? I said the next half hour is going to be great. Because Steve and I were so... This... What? Oh, my gosh. Could you... If we did that for 25 minutes, you think they'd be calling? Exactly. The station management would be calling. The owner would be calling. What's going on? Exactly. They'd be over here. Exactly. It was a disaster. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 10 being 9/11, how bad was the Twitter Spaces launch of Ron DeSantis' campaign? I'd say a 10. I'd say a 10. 10 is a 9/11. What would you guys say? I think it was that bad. I really do. Yeah, an 11. Because it's what I was telling Jeff. I'm going to highlight this throughout the show today because this is important. For most people, that was their first introduction to Ron DeSantis. They don't know him like we do. When that's your first introduction to the world, you're done. Wow, 10s and 11s. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, this is a question. Nobody does anyone remember Mark Scheinbaum? Don't tell me the no's, because there'll be too many. But if you remember Mark Scheinbaum, you can give me a yes. I can't imagine. No Mark Scheinbaum people. I get it. Yeah, no Mark Scheinbaum people. He was the worst. He was the biggest no talent on the air ever in the history of radio. Jimmy remembers Mark Scheinbaum. Oh, Jimmy. Tell me something that you remember happening on the Mark Scheinbaum show. You remember Mark Scheinbaum. Yes, he was vice president of the National Association of Radio Talk Show Hosts. That's correct. You know, Tina Turner, I'm not big into the Tina Turner, and all that stuff. But my favorite Tina Turner performance is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. She was great in that. And she had that song, We Don't Need Another Hero. Right? Remember that? Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I saw that in the theater. We don't need another hero. I can't. If I say any more than that, I'll start singing. Then I'll lose. The whole room will clear out.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. Oh, man, that was a disaster. We're talking about Ron DeSantis' disastrous opening. You know, the only thing I can think of that would be a great comparison to what happened. Do you remember the movie Broadcast News? Broadcast News with William Hurt. There was a scene in there with, oh boy, what is the name of the guy? Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks in Broadcast News. He got a chance to anchor the evening news. Do you guys remember that scene? Oh my goodness. That was Ron DeSantis. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Oh, Nick in Baltimore. Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a comparison for you. Ron DeSantis' new Coke versus Donald Trump, which is the real thing.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. I mean, it was, you know, listen, this isn't just about having fun and laughing at this Benedict Arnold who got what he deserved. This is, listen, when you are supporting someone to be president of the United States of America, especially in a terrible time like we're in now because of this senile, corrupt old coot that's running the country, the next president has to be someone who makes great decisions and surrounds themselves with competent, brilliant people. And the people around Ron DeSantis that allowed this to happen is a statement on his inability to surround himself with highly qualified people. Because this, if I were working on the DeSantis campaign, this would never have happened.
That's true, and the thing I see is the people, like you said, the people around him, and he's got the Bush connection, and Ed Rollins and all those, those establishment people. And this is a disaster. It really is.
And I would say, and someone said, well, this is like the Kennedy-Nixon debate. No, this is worse. You know, when the Kennedy-Nixon debate happened, there was Nixon was a well-known person. He'd been Eisenhower's vice president for 8 years, and he was a well-known person. This is a point that I'm going to hit home a lot this morning on this. To those of us that follow news and politics as closely as you do if you're listening to me, or those, and those of us in Florida, he's our governor, we've known DeSantis for a long time. But to the world, to the nation, that was his introduction to the nation. And he came off as a laughingstock, an object of ridicule, a complete boob. And when they went to him, if he would have been fantastic from that point on, it would have done a lot of good to recover from it, but he gave this wooden speech that he read. It sounded like he was reading. It was awful when they got it working 25 minutes into it.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was my impression when I heard him do that little speech there after they all got started, when we finally kicked it in. Now, I didn't see the Trey Gowdy interview because I don't have Fox, but you were saying how you saw it this morning.
Well, I watched it this morning on Twitter, and Trey Gowdy, I mean, come on. They gave him a third-tier person to interview him for his big launch. That's an interesting thing. They didn't have Hannity or Ingram or Harris Faulkner or Martha McCallum or who's the chick that does the Fox News Sunday now? I forgot her name, the Sunday school teacher. They didn't have any of their name talent. They had one of their third-tier, fourth-rate B, C-level people on Fox do the interview, which is bizarre. Don't you think? I mean, his whole launch was a disaster.
Well, the whole thing, yeah, and it's typical that Fox would, the way we've seen what's happened to Fox. This whole thing is a disaster.
Well, I'm glad. Hang with me a second here, Nick in Baltimore, because I'm glad I'm talking. I have said for a long time, never trust a never Trumper. Okay, never Trumpers. A lot of people, Glenn Beck destroyed his career being a never Trumper. He's never recovered from it. And that doesn't mean he didn't do good work evacuating people out of Afghanistan during the fall of Afghanistan, and I commend him for that, and he deserves praise. But he was a never Trumper, and remember, he did an event at the Lincoln Memorial with 50,000 attendees in Washington. I mean, Rush Limbaugh called into his show. That's how big he was. I've never seen Rush call in the shows like that before. And he destroyed his career when he was on top of the world for being a never Trumper. So a lot of never Trumpers got off the never Trumper train because they saw what happened to Glenn Beck. Recently, Candace Owens, who was a never Trumper, she claimed to recover, said unforgivable, terrible things about President Trump a few months ago. If you guys remember. And there's one never Trumper that has come out of the closet again, Mr. Mark Levin. Mark Levin tweeted the fundraising, DeSantis fundraiser on his Twitter yesterday. Did you see this?
I didn't see that, but I heard his radio show yesterday, and he was kind of really, pushing DeSantis a little.
Was it? Well, no, he tweeted the link to donate money to Ron DeSantis yesterday. Mark Levin. Never trust a never Trumper. I've given Mark Levin, I used to listen to his show regularly. And when he started being a never Trumper, I stopped listening, never went back. And President Trump has befriended him and said good things, so I gave him a pass, but I always had my eye on him. And then yesterday, Mark Levin tweeted the support Ron DeSantis for president link for people to make donations on his Twitter. I mean, what the heck is that about? What is wrong with Levin? He's a never Trumper.
He's over at Fox, too.
And he did it, and hey, how many shekels, is he getting over there? He did it the day of this launch of DeSantis. I mean, come on, Mark Levin.
I agree with you. Now I remember. Yeah, he was pushing the Fox interview, by the way, on his show yesterday. That's when I tuned out.
Yeah.
5 minutes of it. That's all I had to hear.
Yeah. It was a disaster. All right, Nick in Baltimore. Thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, good morning. And what a great voice. This is Barbara.
Oh, hey, Barbara.
From Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
Nick's call was absolutely fantastic. You're absolutely right. I did not listen to anything that was said, Ron DeSantis said last night. But just from the clips that I'm hearing, and I've been kind of floating around on the reaction that you have, it's like a tsunami of what I'm hearing all over the place. But I'm going to say this, and I may have said this before. Donald Trump got more done in 4 years than any other president in history, all the while being pursued, persecuted, everything the deep state could.
And that's with his whole last year being hijacked with the COVID.
Absolutely, but I'm telling you, what's going to happen with Donald Trump is going to be a biblical proportion. Donald Trump has had more done to him than Saul did to David.
Mm-hmm. Still
glorious. And I'm just saying this because, I'm the same person who called and kind of made a joke about Tim Scott going holy moly on us and Hallelujah Jones.
Yep.
Right now, I'm telling you, that's what happened yesterday. Sometimes God got to put his hands on things. And I'm telling you what I feel. This from what I've heard from you and a few other places that have been playing the clips. I hope I'm going to go and listen to more because I just want to see it.
See, it's a disaster.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, everything I've heard is a disaster. But and you're so right about never Trumpers. You are so right about them. And Glenn Beck is one of the best examples I can give you because he came out the gate against Donald Trump in 2015. And I went to the Tea Party. And then I do believe Glenn Beck was at that Tea Party march when I went to Washington. I've been to Washington for a couple of things. But I didn't even people were rushing around him.
Listen, let me tell you. I'm with Trump for life. I was with Trump. I wanted him to. I was talking on the air about him running back when Romney was running in the Republican primaries, and President Trump was teasing about it. I remember I was watching The Celebrity Apprentice, and it was the season with Nene Leakes, and President Trump said, hey, Nene, should I run for president? And Nene didn't seem to mind then. She probably does now. But, it's happened to these people. But, he's the greatest of all time. And do you think that Ron DeSantis can recover from this? I say no.
If he's lucky, Donald Trump will forgive him and just chalk it up to being.
He should, if Ron DeSantis had half a brain, he would go to Mar-a-Lago just like Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather and beg Donald Trump and whine and cry and kiss the ring of President Trump. It is over for Ron DeSantis. It is over. See, Barbara, what I've been telling people, I told Nick before you, this was Ron DeSantis' introduction to most of America in the world. What do you think Putin in China? What do you think they're saying? You don't think they're monitoring this in Beijing and in Moscow? What do you think they're saying? They're like, I love it. We thought we had it easy with Biden. Wait till we get Ron DeSanctimonious in there. Look at this.
Absolutely, because Ron DeSanctimonious is really he's a co-conspirator against this country as far as I'm concerned. Karl Rove and Jeb Bush and all of that.
War criminals. War criminals.
Coming back from that.
I want you to think about this. He is being backed by the Bush family, who lied about weapons of mass destruction. I saw another video, another commercial last night for the. My wife and I, we donate to Wounded Warriors and Tunnels to Towers, and there was a new. I let them keep the blanket. I let them donate the blanket to somebody, but I can't remember if it was Wounded Warriors or Tunnels to Towers, and they had another commercial with these young men that have no legs or no arms or their faces are melted. And I every time I see that, I think of George Bush and his lies. And here you got Liz Cheney, whose dad is a war criminal. And remember, Dick Cheney shot his friend in the face with a shotgun. Remember that? Do you guys remember that? When he was vice president. And when he was vice president, he shot his, it was an accident. Oh, really? Oh, boy. They got this.
You're great. I'm going to get off so that other people can call, because I'm sure.
Oh, sorry. I hit you too quick there. I hit the button by accident, Barbara. I apologize. Listen, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break and be back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live.
Yeah, how dare Liz Cheney call the morality of President Trump out with what her dad did.
Experience awe-inspiring landscapes and traverse the great Canadian Rocky Mountains on the Rocky Mountaineer Train with bi-level glass dome coaches, August 15th through the 20th. The only passenger rail service that runs on the historic rail route connecting Canada from east to west. Are you ready to embark?
Tell me real quick, because I got to do the My Pillow message when we get back. What is the best My Pillow gift for Dad on Father's Day, would you guys say? The best My Pillow gift for Dad on Father's Day. You got to tell me quick, because I got to pull it up and see if there's a special on it. And I'll make that the commercial when we get back. I know it's tough. You can only pick one. Oh, man. The pillows, the bathrobes, the mattress topper 2.0. If you could get Dad just one thing, what do you think would be the best? Oh, boy. What a disaster for DeSantis. Disaster. I love it. The sheets for Dad, the slippers, the robe, towels. It's kind of split. Robes and slippers. Okay. Well, I'll talk about the robes.
Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Garrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show where MAGA comes to talk. My name's Brian Craig. Hey, Mike, anyone from management call and say we can't play the... Okay. They might call next time. In a few minutes, I'm going to play again the disaster of the Ron DeSantis Twitter Spaces presidential announcement, the audio of which violates every rule of broadcasting. Everything you're not supposed to do on the air occurred. I played it once in the first hour, and no one from management has called Mike in the control room to tell him not to play it again. So maybe they weren't listening, maybe they're still, I don't know. But coming up, we'll play it again so you can hear what a disaster it was. But, you know, Father's Day is just a few short weeks away. And if you go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, there are great gifts that you can get for Dad. And I'm just going to recommend one right now, but you can take advantage of all the specials at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane. The MyPillow My Slippers. I have 2 pairs of these. These are amazing, the slip-ons and the moccasins. Steve has the MyPillow My Slippers. They're normally $149.98. Right now for Father's Day, they're $100 off, just $49.98. I paid the $149.98 for both of mine. Worth every penny. But with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, just $49.98. And this is in all sizes and colors and styles. They make a great Father's Day gift. And you know what? They got a whole bunch of new sizes, including larger and big and wide sizes, too. So go to mypillow.com, the MyPillow My Slippers. They're great. You know, Steve has a pair of the charcoal MyPillow My Slippers. And on our cruise, he wore them with his suit to dinner every night. And, yeah, they're good for all-day wear. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Lisa in Texas.
Hey, Lisa.
I agree with Barbara. I mean, everything that Trump did for us, you know, how people can forget that is beyond me. But this has just cooked, you know, Ron DeSantis' goose. I mean, he's ruined politically anywhere. He's rendered worthless, I think, on the political scene after this thing. I mean, what a fiasco.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I guess it couldn't happen to a more traitorous, ugly midget than him. But
oh, boy. Well, let me tell me what you really think. Now, let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 9/11, how bad was this launch yesterday? Ron DeSantis' introduction to the country for the first time. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 9/11, how bad was this?
Oh, a total 10, if not 10 plus, plus, plus.
Yeah.
That feedback loop, my gosh, that's... Talk about a sin to radio. That was horrific.
Well, I'm gonna play it again until management tells me not to. It's got to be. Let me tell you something, and this is the truth. If we started the show at 6 or the top of the hour at 7, and we had 25 minutes of that, not only would station management be on the phone to find out what was going on, somebody would show up. They'd have someone show up. The operations manager and engineer, they would think there was I'm serious. They would think there was something going on, and they'd be right to do it. I mean, that was, you know, I was talking before every morning. Before we go on the air here, I just don't walk in and hit the on button. We do checks. I look at Mike does a check. I do a check. One thing I do every day is before the show starts, I call the 888-465-2631, our call-in number. I call the number every day on my cell phone, put the number on hold and listen to the sound quality and do a test off the air to make sure the phone's working. We check the mics. There's other things. All before we go. And this is not our introduction to the nation for the first time. All right? And you think about it. They've been hyping up DeSantis for months and months over the great President Trump, and now people saw him for the first time.
Yeah, and horrific at least. And my husband's an ex-IT guy. He was saying, "Oh my gosh, we would have done this and this and this and this beforehand to make sure this wouldn't happen, just like yours.
Well, the feedback loop, the feedback loop is because one of them, Elon, the guy sitting next to him, or DeSantis, they had the speaker on the computer when they went live. That's why you're getting that feedback loop. And anybody that has any experience doing anything like this for 6 seconds would know that. You would immediately stop it. But they couldn't figure it out. And then all that talking while they were on the air, oh my goodness. I mean, that's like college radio, less than college radio, you know?
And I was thinking the same thing when you said, like a car wreck with the looky-loos,
Oh, yeah.
Traffic to rubberneck and look at the car wreck. That's the only reason people were tuning in, because last night before I went to bed on YouTube, all I could see was all the different YouTubers saying, what a disaster.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you, I've been talking about this for months, and people think I'm being petty. If Ron DeSantis makes it to the debate stage, and when he walks out on stage and people see how short he is compared to the other candidates, after this, this is a true story, people. This is a true story. I've seen Governor DeSantis in person before, but this last time I was with him at Wings Plus in Coral Springs on Sample Road was the first time I saw him when he wasn't on a stage. And I was in the room with the donors. I'm not a donor, but Brian Walsh, that owns Wings Plus, got me in with the people that paid $500 each. And by the way, those of you that are friends of mine that got in, that ticket would have cost $500. And so Ron DeSantis, he comes out and everybody stands up, and I hear him talking, and I'm making my YouTube video, and I got my phone, I'm making it, and I can't find him. And I can hear his voice, and I know he's within 4 or 5 feet of me because I can hear the voice, right? And I realized I was looking too high. And again, I'm only 5'7", okay? But I'm not running for president. And I'm not going to be on stage with people that are 6'2" and 6'1". If I went on a debate stage with Gavin Newsom, I'd look like a jockey. And so will Ron DeSantis when he's up there with President Trump. And these others that are running. Even Biden's 6 foot. There's not been a president in the modern era really Ronald Reagan was 5'11" because he probably shrunk a little bit while he was president. It just doesn't happen. And you put his height, his lack of it, on top of what just happened, it's going to be another mockery.
Oh, gosh. I'm surprised nobody's made a meme yet with his head on, the 7 dwarves, and Snow White. I mean, that'll be next. And what about this Mark Levin? You say he's
Mark Levin tweeted the official Ron DeSantis campaign fundraising link on his Twitter yesterday.
Oh, well, I was already done with him, but I'm definitely done with. It's just remarkable how Mark Levin, who you would think has a brain, how he would not want Trump back in to save this nation is beyond.
And President Trump has done nothing but praise Mark Levin for years, even after he betrayed him and didn't support him in the primary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beyond me. And then to have Trey Gowdy, like you said, a third-rate guy who, it's hard for me to look at him. I don't want to be too mean, but he just looks like a badly carved pumpkin to me. He's just an ugly man. It's hard for me to look at him.
Yeah. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Oh my goodness. Should I play it again, the opening?
Good morning, South Florida. First morning meteorologist Vanessa Jimenez from WPBF 25 News. They are tracking a couple of light showers out there, but as we head into the
Should I play the DeSantis announcement again from the Twitter Spaces? I know it's awful. It's the worst, but it's got to be heard.
Prevention is the best protection off.
Insane people.
Dermatologist recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson. That's traffic I'm sad.
Traffic, a service of the Ponies Kennel Club. Calling all happy campers. Camp Rusty Dog Retreat at PBKC is a daycare and boarding facility that offers a perfect combination of outside adventures and cozy indoor cabin time. Rusty is open every day with 24/7 drop-off and pickup and is conveniently located right across from.
Yeah, I'm gonna play when we get back.
Come for a free tour or give us a call at 561-640-7856.
Okay.
Brian Craig here. Are you looking for a reliable scooter sales and repair shop? Well, look no further than Anything Scooters. When my scooter broke down, Anything Scooters took care of everything for me.
And you know, I was talking earlier. I took this picture. This is the last 15 minutes, maybe 10, the last 10 or 15 minutes of Trump's first term. And he's driving back to Mar-a-Lago. This is in the Beast. This is not zoomed in. I was this close to him. And I made a vlog, I have a YouTube video about it. And I said, look at him. Does he look like a man who's got a worry in the world? The last 10, 15 minutes of his first term. You know? When I saw President Trump here, it made me feel so good to see how, because I was like, you know, crying, as was everybody else. And then I saw him, and I was like, wow.
954-226-8710. 954-226-8710. Online, anythingscooters.com.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon here with a question. How would you like a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you get a doorbell camera. I wish we had them for everyone, but the first 40 true oldies channel listeners to call 833-283-5050.
Oh, man. Rome, do you just have that picture of the raccoon on your profile that drive me crazy because I told you I hate raccoons? I hate raccoons. They creep me out.
And that's not all. Sloman's going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3-armed doors, and a backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40
Well, thank you, Eugene.
channel listeners to dial 833-283-5050, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. So call Sloman's now for the
Yeah, you know, I even do a sound check in the morning before the show starts with my headphones. I'll turn the mic on before I go on the air and tap it once to hear it in my headphones to make sure my mic's working, you know? You know, you got to do, it's insane. You always prepare for worst cases in a situation that's so public. Yeah, I know I've shown some of you this before, but this is my, hold on, I got my iWatch face. Is that the best iWatch or Apple Watch face there is? That's the best. I love that picture.
And paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing...
If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is our bottom of the hour break. If you're new to my channel, I host a morning radio show. We're on 6 radio stations here in Florida. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida, right up the road from Mar-a-Lago. And the calls you're hearing are from our radio listeners. Some of them are from YouTube and other platforms we're on. This is our bottom of the hour break.
Now, back to the Steve King Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years
All right, callers on hold, stand by. We're talking about the disaster of Ron DeSantis' launch on Twitter Spaces. I put together a edited down version of it. It was about 25 minutes of disaster before they got him on. Then the disaster continued after he was on. I'm going to play this again, and it's only a matter of time before someone tells me I'm not allowed to play this on the air because Ron DeSantis' Twitter Spaces launch yesterday breaks every rule of broadcasting. Everything that can go wrong went wrong. Dead air, feedback loops, all kinds of things. Talking on a hot mic, everything. Every rule of broadcasting was broken on this. And do not let anyone blame Twitter or Elon Musk. The buck stops here. The buck stops here. And Ron DeSantis and his team of incompetence, I want you to understand this. When people are working on a presidential campaign, if that candidate wins, you're looking at the secretary of this, the secretary of that, the chief of staff. You understand what I'm telling you here? The people that will be running this country if DeSantis were to become president are behind setting this up. It is their fault that they let this happen to their candidate. It's Ron DeSantis' fault that he let this happen to him. What do you think President Trump would have done if this would have happened to him? You know what he would have done? He'd have walked out, and he would have called the whole thing off, and he would have called out everyone who was behind it. And I was talking to a caller earlier. There's been a few times in Trump rallies, and I know you've seen this. There was a Trump rally once, and the AC wasn't working. President Trump said, it's hot in here. The AC's not working. We're not paying for the venue. You remember that? There was a time or two where there was a bit of a mic problem in a Trump rally. And President Trump said right there, we're not paying for this. Right? What did Ron DeSantis do? Oh, I broke the internet. Okay, now guys, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to play this again for people that may not have been on Twitter like I was last night. And this is pretty bad, people. Everything that you do not do on the air is in this clip. Every snafu, dead air, feedback loops, talking into hot mics, it all happens here. You know, one big rule is assume microphones are always on. Always. Assume every mic is hot. If you're in a radio station, there's mics in every room here. I assume they're all on and broadcasting on the air. You know? If we have like a meeting, a private meeting in a studio, do you know what I do? Not only do I make sure everything on the board's turned off, I unplug the microphones. I know it sounds crazy, right? But hey, listen, I know what I'm doing, unlike Ron DeSantis. Okay, so it starts with a feedback loop, and I don't know, it goes against my grain to even play this, but this is Ron DeSantis's Twitter launch, the launch of his campaign. Remember, his introduction to America was this Twitter Spaces announcement of Ron DeSantis. Here it is. Oh boy.
Now it's quiet.
Do you hear them? Do you hear them talking? Now it's quiet. They're talking into a hot mic. Now it's cut out and it's in dead air. Let me go back. Now it's dead air.
Now it's quiet.
Dead air. Now they're going to come back.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, depending on wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Twitter headquarters. It's David Sachs here. Elon is sitting next to me, and we want to welcome you to this historic Twitter Spaces event, and more broadly, a first in the history of social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the grip.
Okay, now it cut out again. It's dead air. Now, this guy that's talking, David Sachs, that's moderating it, he donated to both Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and Mitt Romney's. So now, you know, this happened over a period of about 24 minutes. This is a period of dead air. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We don't want to have too much dead air here. Here we go.
All right, sorry about that. We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers. which is a good sign. All right, I'd like to just introduce the folks in the room here. So it's safe to say we wouldn't be making history without the man sitting next to me, Elon Musk. His decision to purchase this platform last year to restore it to its original mission as a beacon for free speech, and even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly.
Okay, now his brown nosing is interrupted by having audio on top of him talking. So now we got two pieces of audio talking during this guy's brown nosing of Elon Musk.
And even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly a quarter century. His commitment to freedom, his money where his mouth is, upset the narrative control by our government, elitists.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Go ahead and send a heart up if you want to say thank you, Elon. Governor DeSantis first drew my attention and support when I saw how he responded to the COVID pandemic and refused to believe what we now know to be the many falsehoods that government experts, their media mouthpieces, were feeding us. He kept Florida's schools open and its economy thriving, while my state of California chose 2 years of learning loss and lockdowns that we have yet to fully.
Okay. So now it's cut out again. It's dead air. And by the way, they got sirens in the background. There's police cars nearby. A very long period of dead air, which I'm going to fast forward through, and then we'll get back. Here they come back.
Let's see. So, we on? Yeah, I think so. Just to simplify that.
Okay. So they're talking now. They're talking on the air. Don't know it. It cuts out again. More dead air.
I think we're just going to use your.
Now, dead air again.
I think we're just going to use your.
Dead air again. Now, keep in mind, we still haven't heard from Ron DeSantis. And again, this went on for 25 minutes. This is another period of dead air. And let's see here. They're getting ready to come back again. The suffering's almost over, guys. Don't worry.
Well, there's 382,000 people around. All right, great. So let's see. So things keep crashing, huh?
Oh boy!
I think we've got just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's it. Still no DeSantis. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Still no DeSantis.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is one of our clever callers is trying to reenact the DeSantis announcement. You're on the air, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay.
I haven't called you in a while, so I'm hoping I can get through the 3 questions I'm trying to see if I can ask you. Number 1, I'm surprised you didn't talk about Trump's movie that he backed, that movie Soft and Quiet.
Well, Friday is open phones. Today's not open phones. We're talking about the DeSantis line. Now notice we got a Democrat who's trying to get us to not talk about the DeSantis disaster yesterday, trying to get the topic.
Don't do it. I knew you would.
Tomorrow is open phones. Do you have comment on the topic at hand other than trying to distract us?
Yeah, you be quiet. I can do That was just the first thing I wanted to say. I have more than that. Now, you're talking about the launch that DeSantis had, right?
The launch, not lunch, the launch.
Whatever, I said launch, but you always try to mess things up. He had. Now, what I'm trying to say is what happened about a year ago or so when Trump launched his network and it didn't work. I didn't hear you mention that.
What didn't work?
His network. Remember when he tried to open up a new, whatever it was?
No.
Right?
No.
Remember that?
No, I don't. No, in fact, are you? No, I did not.
2 of them. The one.
But see, this is what you. I love how this radical liberal caller is doing everything he can do to deflect and save Ron DeSantis, which tells you everything you need to know about Ron DeSantis when we have this BLMer on the line trying to defend him.
And this is the third question. Ron DeSantis and Trump are going to be running to see who's going to take it. Now, this is just a question. Let's see if you can answer it. You're kind of stupid. If DeSantis takes over Trump, don't you realize you're going to have to back that man?
If he does what to Trump?
If he beats Trump, that means you're going to have to vote for that man.
No, it doesn't mean that, and he's not going to beat Trump. Look, he can't even do a presidential campaign launch. He's 28 points behind Trump in Florida. And then this happened yesterday?
I don't want neither one of those two nuts.
Then why are you so busy trying to deflect off of Ron DeSantis' disaster? Why are you, as a BLMer radical black Democrat, trying so hard to distract away from Ron DeSantis' disaster last night?
Of course it was a disaster for Trump.
Yeah, but you're talking about everything but. You want to talk about Trump, you're trying to deflect and get us off topic.
One thing, but you're acting like it never happened before.
No, nothing like this has ever happened. This was a launch of a presidential campaign. It was his. If Trump came down the escalator and he had an announcement like this, he would never have beaten Hillary Clinton.
You always avoid stuff that you won't talk about that you know I'm right about. You know I'm right that he launched the network about a year ago and it didn't work right.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not the same thing. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break, all right? We'll be right back.
Cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Hey, Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good. How are you today, Brian?
Great. What do you have for us today, Barry?
Well, a lesson from a meeting I had yesterday. I had a very nice lady come in yesterday, 90 years old, doing great shape, gets around, everything's great with her, and she's doing well. And so she just came into with some estate planning issues, but during the consult, we learned she didn't have long-term care. We talked about some of the issues related to what she may have to deal with financially if she did need long-term care, help with activities of daily living, either at home or outside of the home. And she didn't realize that there were options outside of having long-term care or paying down her assets and going broke, besides that, to pay for long-term care. And so we talked about it. She thought her only options were to either spend down her assets and then she could qualify, or to gift her money to family members and then wait 5 years. And she could not believe that there were other options available where she could prepare to be able to qualify down the road immediately when that time comes. And so we were able to set something up to do some pre-planning. So when the time comes, she will be able to qualify very quickly. And to her, she even said, this is almost like getting an insurance policy. I now have the peace of mind that I don't have to worry about this. And it costs a lot less than a long-term care policy to get this set up to make sure that she could qualify in the future if she needed to.
Yeah.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is the ability to get rid of that concern about long-term care.
Yeah, and I mean at 90 years old, and I'm sure the family was really hoping for that gifting of the money. And it, listen, this is why you don't want to take advice from family members or the internet or friends. This is a very complex, detailed process, and the internet and your friends and family, they just don't have the knowledge and expertise. They'll tell you they do. They may think they do, but they don't. And they also have other interests in mind oftentimes too, other than yours. And the Siegel Law Group, Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group has an entire department, an entire team that are experts in this long-term care part of the practice. And this is something they deal with all day, every day. So you're dealing with experts who know exactly what they're talking about. You can find the Siegel Law Group online at siegellawgroup.com. And remember, it's a no-charge consultation. When you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the air, you get a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Brian.
All right, back after this.
Justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. We've had one liberal and two never Trumpers call in today. All of them wanted to talk about Trump, not the disastrous start. I mean, think about it. I just talked to a BLMer who was deflecting for Ron DeSantis. What else do you need to know about Ron DeSantis? When he's got BLM trying to deflect, he's not the guy. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Eunice from West Palm Beach. How you doing?
All right, better than Ron DeSantis, Eunice. I promise you that.
Yeah, but the reason I'm calling is because yesterday I heard you for 2 hours trashing DeSantis. 2 hours. Now, let's say that he wins. What are you going to do?
Well, that's not an invention. First off, well,
You're going to go and vote against him, or because Kennedy's going to.
Oh, hold on a second. You keep asking questions and you never wait for answers or responses. So you began by saying that I spent hours trashing Ron DeSantis yesterday. What did slow down? Oh my goodness! Her poor husband. Your poor husband. Your poor husband. You said I trashed DeSantis yesterday. What did I say about Ron DeSantis that is not true?
Everything that you've said about DeSantis is not true.
Give me an example. Something I said about him that's not true, and I'll retract it if it's not true.
Well, first of all, you have been attacking him because Karl Rove runs his campaign and because Jeb Bush supposedly runs his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, how do you know that?
Oh, okay. Because, I'm glad you asked, okay. Karl Rove, about a month and a half ago, was being interviewed by Dana Perino live on Fox. And they had a discussion talking about the possibility of Ron DeSantis announcing here, announcing there. It was a whole discussion. And on live TV, Karl Rove, who is a campaign manager by trade, slipped. And he referred to the DeSantis campaign as our campaign. That's how I know.
Well, it's our campaign because we're Republicans.
No, excuse me. Is Nikki Haley's campaign your campaign too? Now about Jeb, excuse me, slow down. Now, so far as Jeb, President Trump a couple of months back was kind enough to let us know that Ron DeSantis was receiving donations through Jeb Bush and Paul Ryan cronies. Thirdly, when...
to return the donations?
Yes, I don't take Bush blood money. I don't take Paul Ryan lying money. Furthermore, when Ron DeSantis was sworn in for the second, when Ron DeSantis was, well, you said that I slandered DeSantis and everything I've said is true. But it was true. Everything I said was true. So what?
No.
What did I say that's not everything? I asked you to give me an example of something I said about Governor DeSantis that was not true. You gave an example that was true. Tell me something I said about DeSantis that was a lie, and I will retract it.
But listen, you are trashing him for something that he has no control of.
Give me an example. What am I trashing him for that he has no control of?
If Jeb Bush wants to donate to his campaign, hey, listen, there's nothing he can do about it. He just needs the money.
That's not true. You don't take money. I mean, if Planned Parenthood gave me money and I took it, you would say that was okay?
You have criticizing him because he doesn't even own his own home, which I don't think that that's something for you to be trashing him off, But
what about a car? Ron DeSantis does not own a car. What is your
Great job. Why can you praise him for the work that he's done as a governor? Why is it that every single day you trash him?
I don't trash him. I discuss things about him that are true. Okay? He does not, listen, he gets a check from the government every month. He lives in government housing, and he doesn't own a car.
Job, what do you want him to do? To live in a trailer home?
What do you mean a trailer home?
Do you want him to live on a trailer home? He lives in the government house. He works for the government of Florida. He was elected by the...
Well, what about this not having a car? Isn't that odd that he doesn't have a car?
Who cares?
Well, listen, we're facing a major economic crisis because of this senile, corrupt old coot, Joe Biden, okay, running this country. The economy is one of the first things that the next president has to take care of. Would you trust the number one economy in the world to a man who lives in government housing and does not own a car?
We have a great economy in Florida because of his legislations.
Really? Tell that to the homeless people living in their cars, okay, because of the rent prices. Do you think it's a good idea to trust the economy of the world, which is the American economy, to someone who does not own a house or a car?
Listen, let me tell you something. I am even for pro-Trump. I am going to vote.
No, you're not answering the question.
Like is you trashing our governor, someone that is being attacked by liberals, by conservatives, by Hispanics, Indians, blacks.
Indians? What do you mean Indians? Gandhi Indians or Native Americans?
I'm talking about Indians like from India.
Gandhi Indians, okay.
Everybody. So we don't need another person in the conservative movement to attack him. You need to recognize the job that he's doing as a governor. He's doing shit.
Oh boy. She ended the call by saying that's not usually one of the words people use. Is the delay on, Mike? I hope it's on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If you're on hold, stand by. We've got to wait for the delay to build back up. But while we're doing that, I want to tell you about the Sloman's free home security system and free doorbell camera offer with professional installation. This is amazing. I have this doorbell camera. You will love it. You can get a free doorbell camera if you're one of the first 40 listeners who call 1-833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. If you're one of the first 40 listeners to call that number, you'll get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. That way you'll be able to see your house no matter where you are, at work, traveling, in the bathroom. It's a beautiful, cool thing to have. And that's not all. Sloman's, they're going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and a backup battery. And if you're one of the first 40 listeners to call 833-283-5050, 833-283-5050, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. This is a limited time offer, so go ahead and call 833-283-5050. All right, the delay has built back up. We'll go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, how's it going, Deerfield?
Doing good, Brian. That rollout of this campaign was really beyond belief. I mean, this was really is beyond pathetic. He almost makes a Joe Biden press conference look like a competent guy and stuff. It was really, what is he going to do when he's on the debate stage with President Trump?
Probably have a panic attack. See, this is the point I'm highlighting for people, okay? When President Trump came down the escalator, he had a beautiful announcement. When he announced his second running at Mar-a-Lago, for this time around, beautiful and perfect. But he's been famous his whole life. I've known who President Trump is since the 80s. He was on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. They did a whole segment on him. Robin Leach, I've known him since then, who he was. Ron DeSantis, this was the first time most of the country and the world saw him. It was his introduction. And there's no way in Beijing they're not, oh man, this is awesome. Or Putin. Putin's like, oh man, this is better than Biden. This goofball. I mean, there's no way. It was his first introduction to America was a disaster.
Lasting ones, and this first version was just a total disaster.
That's it. All right, we got a break for the top. Good point. We'll be right back.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rogue Studio.
She said the S word is what she said. She said he's doing, and she said the S word. Oh, man. This is a disaster for DeSantis, that's for sure. The S word? The S word is shit. Okay? She said he's doing shit. She said.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Look out for an accident on Montana Road at Broadway Street and another crash on Forest Hill Boulevard at Davis Road. This report sponsored by Fresh from Florida. Hey shoppers, this is your local farmer letting you know that Florida water.
Yes or no? Did Ron DeSantis sleep well last night?
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, casino table games, off-track betting, paddock dining, and exciting events. Visit the Paddock Restaurant, the ultimate dining, sports, and event experience with USDA prime steaks, fresh seafood, an impressive wine list, and a full bar. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Here's your True Oldies ABC News update.
ABC News now. I'm Inez de la Quatera. A rocky start last night to Ron DeSantis' announcement that he's
A rocky start. Oh my goodness.
Ron DeSantis finally appeared with Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces, the audio-only discussion forum. He made the announcement, although it wasn't much of a discussion. It sounded a little bit more like a stump speech.
ABC's Jonathan Karl. White House and congressional Republican negotiators met for 4 hours Wednesday. Still no agreement on a debt ceiling hike. House Democrats unanimously backed a plan to go around GOP leadership and force a floor vote on the issue. Fitch, the government credit rating agency, put the U.S. AAA rating on negative watch. 54 months in federal prison, the sentence for convicted insurrectionist Richard Barnett, famously photographed with his feet propped up on a desk in former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office, even tried selling signed copies of the photos on social media. This is ABC News.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chop in the air, in a public place, in front of your kids, and their friends, is the wrong way. Using STEM mosquito repellent is the right way. STEM effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients.
I know people that have mobile homes that cost like $250,000 more.
STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
This Kia sales event will be held at one location only, City Kia of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot.
Rocky start is kind. Clubber Lang, oh my goodness. Okay, don't you answer it, Sean. Who is Clubber Lang? Anybody remember? That's a good question. Do not answer it, Sean, because you know. Clubber Lang. Who is Clubber Lang? Does anybody know? That's right, Beard to Beard, Mr. T in Rocky 3. Yep. That's right, Rocky 3. Then Rocky got the eye of the tiger and came back.
phone with installation of your Sloman Shield. You can see your home right from the palm of your hands. That's not all. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and a backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 True Mortgage channel listeners to dial 1-833-283-5050, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. So call Sloman's now for this limited time offer at 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.
On the air
There we go.
1977. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, only one opening on our board. I'm Brian. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve. Uh-oh. Here we got the Twitter Spaces going on. Okay, all right. Well, see, this is what you do. When there's a little technical problem, you just move on. The show will go on. We'll get it figured out. All right, guys, our number 1-888-GU-KANE 1-888-465-2631. All right, so let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, now we got you, Steve. Hey, Steve. Okay. All right, Patty, go ahead. No, we're just doing a reenactment of it. But see how quickly we recovered as professionals and just going on like nothing's wrong, you know. Didn't go on for 25 minutes. Hey, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Back. Anyway, so my thing is I want to remind people in Florida, it was not that long ago that Ron DeSantis was running for governor, and I specifically remember how he stood up there and said, I'm not interested in running for president. I want to run Florida. I want to be here. I want to finish that. And he totally smokescreened the people in Florida. And as soon as he got in, then he immediately went to setting him.
Here's the thing with DeSantis. Here's the analogy I use with DeSantis. DeSantis used us to get that second term, so we could have that second term, and boom. And now he's abandoned us in Florida. And what the analogy I would make, it's like a guy who does everything he can to get a girl in bed with him. She has sex with him, and then he ghosts her, and it's done. He's done with her after she gives it up to him. Yeah.
And how that woman before could sit there and say that you're trashing him. There's nothing you're saying that is not absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
He's left Florida. He's caused a big problem with Disney, which is one of the biggest attractions to Florida, which, supports all of the business down there, and now there's a big rift between the government and Disney. Don't get me wrong, I'm not happy with Disney. Disney needs to straighten them.
Well, let me ask you, I've asked some other callers, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 9/11, how bad was Ron DeSantis' launch last night?
It was terrible, Brian, terrible. I mean, that is not presidential material.
No.
It was an absolute disaster.
You know what? There's never been a presidential moment, like a candidate that bad, but that's the kind of thing I would expect from Mayor Pete. That level of incompetence.
Yes, and you know what? That's fine. If you want to go on my spaces during your campaign, but we're not launching a campaign there. That whoever gave him that advice should be fired immediately.
Mm-hmm. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Now, CNN covered it. Let me play. This is CNN last night, their coverage of it. CNN.
He's in. The Florida Governor Ron DeSantis officially kicking off his bid for the White House. He did it on Twitter.
There is no substitute for victory. We move in the culture of losing that is...
I like this. There is no substitute for victory. Very wooden there.
...affected the Republican Party in recent years. The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future. We must look forward, not backwards.
Oh, boy.
Now, during his appearance on Twitter, DeSantis went on to talk about his policies in Florida, to brag about the ones that target education, books, race, and gender. He owns them. He also repeatedly railed against the traditional media. But this evening's rollout on Twitter did begin with a technical issue and a crash. The event was delayed with those technical difficulties. In fact, this is what people heard when they logged on at 6 p.m. Eastern, which was the advertised start of the announcement.
Let's see, so, yeah, I think so.
Oh my goodness.
Just to simplify it.
Oh, dead air.
Well, it kept getting cut off. By the time it started, DeSantis made a joke that he broke the internet. Biden's campaign, while made light of DeSantis' tech troubles, tweeting, "This link works." And then the link went to a Biden fundraising page.
Oh my goodness. I mean, how can you, that's CNN. And CNN's trying to give you the best face. The reason I played that clip, though, is because you got to hear DeSantis talk after they got it working 25 minutes into it. And he was wooden. He read this speech that was a canned stump speech, and you could tell he was reading. There was just a disaster, Steve. Not presidential material.
You could hear in his voice that he was affected by the technical mishap.
Oh, please.
He never...
Let me tell you, if you want to be president of the United States of America and be commander-in-chief as we're facing war with Russia, China, and God knows what other things in the future, and you crack because of a technical glitch like that, how are you gonna handle it if there's a 9/11 like event? This is like Hillary and Benghazi. If you can't handle a little technical snafu like that, you're not ready for prime time. And that's just my opinion, whatever it means. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, I guess I could bring up something that I'm a former advancement for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump would never tolerate anything close to that. He would, whoever would be responsible for that, they would have to resign it in the same night.
Yeah.
Whereas on DeSantis bragged on how he's got so many of the Trump people signed on with him. Yeah, they're the misfits, and because Trump only takes the best of the best. So for them to have that kind of a glitch, their head should be rolling today. There should be a lot of resignations in his.
Resignations? They should be fired. This is, yeah.
You know that they're not.
Oh, please. Yeah, they might resign because they don't want to be a part of the Titanic. Well, you were an advanced man for the greatest president ever, Donald Trump. Okay, now here's the thing. To me, one of the key components of a great president is their ability to hire competent people to delegate around them. And the fact that his entire staff allowed this to happen shows that he's not a competent executive when it comes to hiring people around him. These jokers would be cabinet secretaries if he became president.
I mean, that's what people have to realize. A glitch like this is just to show you what's to come. I mean, he let me down a lot, Ron DeSantis, being a Florida resident, and just imagine what's his plans if he wanted to get into the White House. He can make false promises, never keep them. Donald Trump made promises kept.
In fact, he not only he accomplished his promises, he had to start making new promises because he did them all, right? But here's I gave out, since you worked on the campaign of President Trump, you'll remember this. I remember more than one rally. There was one in particular where the air conditioner wasn't working, and President Trump says, "I'm not paying for this." And then he said on the mic, "Don't pay for this venue. The air's not working." People in there was a couple of instances where there were some minor microphone glitches, and he says, "I'm not paying for this." Right there in the rally. I mean, he took care of business. Ron DeSantis' reaction was to lie, to spin. Spin is lying.
The greatest, they have Twitter, a great platform to be. I don't understand how anything could go wrong. You would have, all your practice runs, all your countdowns to it. This should have been absolutely perfect. And someone failed, but it just shows that he wasn't on top of things. It goes to the top.
President Trump would not let this happen to himself. If you wanted to launch on Twitter, what a smart person would have done was this. By the way, Robert Kennedy launched on Twitter, so DeSantis wasn't even the first one to do it. But anyway, you would do a video interview with Elon Musk and put that up on Twitter, and then later do a Twitter Spaces. He was trying to be this hipster. He's been out there saying Trump is too old and all this stuff. I'm the young hipster, and trying to do something new, hip, and unique. And in my opinion, this is the biggest failure of a presidential campaign moment in history, worse than even Nixon Kennedy. And the reason I say that is because the important thing I've been saying this all morning because it's so important. We're in Florida. We know this guy. But America didn't. This was the first time the vast majority of Americans met and were introduced to Ron DeSantis. And the first introduction was a disaster. That's not good. I don't think it can recover, caller.
Well, I mean, I was fooled by him. I thought he was the next Donald Trump, but obviously he proved he's not up for the job. And then last night proves everything, that he can't even have his organization together first.
Well, let me tell you what this guy blew. We would have had 12 years of MAGA if he were, we would have had 4 years of Trump's second term, non-consecutive. He would have picked and endorsed DeSantis for his successor. He would have had 8 years. DeSantis blew it. He blew it, and he betrayed Trump, and he betrayed all of us in Florida. He had been lying to us. He was never MAGA. He was lying to us.
Listen to he listened to the anti-Trump people.
Jeb Bush.
Ill-advised him. I mean, that's really what the bottom line of this is. And now he's past the point of...
Listen, there have been multiple occasions when Trump's been in venues where they've tried to kneecap him. In that town hall meeting with Caitlin Collins a couple weeks ago, right? They monkeyed around with his chair. I talked about this the day after. I saw it when it came out. They had President Trump's chair on that stage set up in a way where his feet couldn't really touch the floor comfortably. It was a way to throw him off. It didn't throw him off. Remember the debate with Hillary when they monkeyed around with his mic and lowered it so he had to bend down in a weird way to talk to make it, he rolled with it. Ron DeSantis dealt with an adversity, which happens when you're doing things live, and he choked. He choked. And when they got it working 25 minutes later, he gave this wooden canned speech that he was reading. It was the Hindenburg.
Well, just to show, I mean, at least America finally sees what we've realized in the last few months in Florida, that this guy isn't as great as he.
That's right. That's right. Hey, listen, we gotta run. We got to run for a break, but thanks for the call, and tell the president that we said hello. All right, we'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about my anti-aging doctor, Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation West El Rey, and hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is all natural. What it does is restore your hormones to where they were when you were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, you'll have more energy, you'll get your sex drive back, and women, hormone replacement pellet...
Now, guys, when we get back, I'm going to do the message for this great print of President Trump's. This is the largest size, and it's under $60. Isn't it beautiful? And I pinned the link into the chat. So and a portion of each print sold is donated to President Trump's official 2024 re-election campaign. So, but I got to do the radio spot for that when we get back. But you're supporting President Trump. You're supporting us here when you order yours, and it's a great Father's Day gift. So.
Chowderheads in Jupiter yet? If you're looking for the best seafood in town, you have to try Chowderheads. You'll love their authentic New England seafood, flown in fresh from Boston. Their award-winning lobster rolls, clam chowder, and fried oysters are absolutely delicious. Come taste it for yourself. You will want to keep coming back for more at Chowderheads, located in the Driftwood Plaza on South US Highway 1 in Jupiter. Now open 7 days a week. For reservations or to go, call 561-203-2903 or check out their menu at chowderheadsusa.com.
How would you like to lose weight, look better, and feel better about yourself. Brian Craig here with a great new message from Elegant Youth. Their new semi-glutide treatment burns fat, boosts energy levels, suppresses appetite, balances blood sugar, and promotes rapid weight loss. Elegant Youth is in the Sanford Plaza.
Oh, I feel much better than yesterday. I had a rough week.
561-717-8081. Online at elegantyouthboca.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at
Very rough week, but things are going well now.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Garrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies FLA.
All right, only one opening on our board at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. Now, Father's Day is right around the corner, and I have here in studio, Steve, the best Father's Day gift for every MAGA dad out there. This is this incredible print of President Trump available at patrioticprintsusa.com. That's Prince with an S. Now, what patrioticprintsusa.com did is they commissioned this beautiful painting from a very well-known artist, Michael Israel. And they've taken this beautiful painting that they commissioned and turned it into this limited edition print that they're offering to listeners of our radio station first. And it makes a great Father's Day gift. It comes in many different sizes. It's very affordable. I have the largest one. It's here in studio with me, but I also have one at home on my wall. It makes a great Father's Day gift. And they ship these things out quick. They ship them out fast, too. And I've been hearing from so many listeners who have already gotten theirs. So go to patrioticprintsusa.com. That's Prince with an S. And remember, a portion of each print sold is donated directly to President Trump's official 2024 re-election campaign, too. So you're not only supporting our radio station in this great program, but you're also supporting the president, and you're getting this incredible print of President Trump. So go to Patriotic Prints, Prince with an S, patrioticprintsusa.com. All right, there's only one opening on the board. What do you want to do, Steve? Take some calls or what do you want to do? All right, I've lost the order in which everyone's called in, so I apologize on that. Let's see here. This person I know, they've been holding for a while. I don't know who's first or last, but you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Juan here in Florida.
Oh, hey, Juan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Listen, I'm not happy for anybody's demise, but I will say that, you know what Trump is going to do now? He's going to school both Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis and teach them how it's really done on Truth Social. And I don't know if Trump is on Twitter or not, but I know that Elon Musk wanted Trump to come back to Twitter. And now I can see why he didn't. And I'm not sure if he's back on Twitter or not, but I do know that he's got to teach him how it's done. And Trump is a master media manipulator.
You know, you're right. And, you know, last night in Ron DeSantis' wooden speech, he took a jab at our great President Trump. He said this campaign is not about building a brand. He built a brand last night in that, a brand of incompetence. You know, I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was at the Sharper Image store, the Galleria Mall in Fort Lauderdale. You guys remember Sharper Image? And they were selling Trump steaks. They had a box of Trump steaks. The name Trump is a brand that means excellence and perfection, right? Quality and all that stuff. The DeSantis brand is a joke right now. It's like almost like Bud Light.
It absolutely is, but again, when you go back to the way Trump does things and the what I mean, that you talk about a rookie mistake, and then
rookie.
What you said earlier, which is hold people accountable. That's the one. If anything like this would happen on Truth Social, heads would be rolling left.
Let me give an example. At the top of the hour, when Steve joined us, right? I said Steve wasn't right there. Mike, our board op, he came in, boom, 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 we were there, seconds, and we rolled with it. You wouldn't even know it if we didn't overemphasize it. You know what I mean? Do you think DeSantis slept well last night, or was he up all night?
Well, DeSantis is he's going to get schooled. Again, he's going to get an education.
Well, hold on. Do you think that he slept well last night, or was he up all night?
Not. Well, of course not. I mean, that was total incompetence, which is what you've been saying all morning.
Buck stops here.
Exactly. All right.
All right. Take care, Juan. Oh, by the way, Juan's a DeSantis man. For those that don't know, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling? Well, I may rephrase that. Juan, he was a DeSantis man, right, until last night. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Maria. I'm calling from Florida.
Hey.
And hey, how are you? It was a disaster, disaster yesterday. And not just because of, what went on with Twitter, but exactly what you're saying. It was a stump speech. It felt even like the questions were scripted, and he was reading answers. This guy, I cannot see him at a table with any leader trying to negotiate if he doesn't have a piece of paper in front of him. And that is probably the biggest issue I have with DeSantis. I mean, you look at Disney, and he can compete in a courtroom, but he's not going to be able.
I don't know if I've never seen him in a courtroom, and he lost to Disney. I have an example with President Trump. Whenever you watch President Trump walk up, you never see President Trump trip on stairs. Have you ever seen him trip on stairs? No. And if you watch President Trump, he always holds the handrail when he's walking up or down a stage. When he's on Air Force One, the same thing. Because, he doesn't want to be tripping all over the place like Biden. What happened to DeSantis last night was so bad, it would have been like Trump fell face forward on the escalator when he came down with Melania. Right? And it's something you can't recover from because it's a statement on his lack of competency.
You have to expect it from DeSantis to be this way. He's not, listen, he lost. He was going to lose, I'm so sorry, if it wasn't for Trump, to a drug addict in a hotel room. I mean, this is...
With a gay, you left out the gay male prostitute naked in the bed next to Gillum. You left that out.
I was trying to be PC.
Yeah.
Be PC, But this is not the guy who's going to be president of the United States. And you were right. If he would have waited, he might have had a chance, and we've had 12 years of MAGA.
See, that's why I'm so ticked at him. I am so ticked. He could not be Trump's running mate because they're both Floridians. However, he would have been the second MAGA president in 2028. And maybe 8 years. We'd had 12 years of MAGA, and he blew it. By the way, I want to point this out. When DeSantis they were hyping that there would be an interview, his first interview after the Twitter Spaces was going to be on Fox News. I watched it this morning, okay, on Twitter, not on Fox. I did not break the ban. He was interviewed by Trey Gowdy. They had a third-tier guy interview him after that. No Hannity, no Ingram, no Harris Faulkner, no Brett Baer. They had Trey Gowdy. I mean, third rate, and I watched the interview. It was pathetic. Why did they have a third-tier guy interview him after that?
Because he's a third-tier guy.
That's right.
He's JV. He's not a varsity player.
That's right.
Actually, he's trying to be a varsity player, and he cannot compete. Trump takes the air out of the room in a good way when he walks in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a leader. That's charisma. People want to talk to him. They want to be around him. DeSantis, he's cold. He's just cold.
And if you get to the part when he was finally speaking, it's all wooden, a wooden red stump speech. And the guy that was doing the interview with Elon Musk and him and DeSantis is a donor to both Hillary Clinton and Mitt Romney's presidential campaigns. And when they finally got through it, about 24 minutes in, he says, "So, Governor, I understand there's something you want to announce." I mean, I couldn't believe it. And he says, "Yes, I am running for president of the United States." I'm like, oh my goodness. You couldn't make this up. It was a comedy skit from Monty Python. It was oh.
Complete letdown. Complete letdown.
Yes. But it was a moment that, you know, he was already losing. How do you think he's going to do in that bump in the polls they were predicting? Because they've been telling us he's only...
Roll out just a little bit.
Yeah.
And there was no bump.
There'll be Steve, there's going to be an anti-bump. Because they've all been saying, oh, he's only double digits behind Trump because he didn't announce. Once he announces, and then this, the Hindenburg.
Not going up. There's no way he's going up. And right now, those donors, Bush, Ryan, they're all scrambling.
Yes.
You know, they're putting all their money on this horse, and this horse is dying.
Yep.
Make it.
That's right. All right, take care. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Oh boy. Beautiful.
From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm first morning meteorologist Vanessa Vinance.
If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is the most pro-Donald Trump program you will find anywhere. I will never disagree nor criticize President Trump. Not that he's done anything I disagree with or think should be criticized that I'm keeping secret. I just don't think he's ever done anything wrong. It's, you know, he's as close to perfect as a human can be.
And now, a true oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Look out for an accident on Forest Hill Boulevard at Davis Road and another crash on Palmetto Park Road at Military Trail.
The Washington established politicians like to talk about how they can be just...
Is in season right now. Look for the Sunny Fresh from Florida logo while you shop. Learn more at followfreshfromflorida.com from the Florida Department of Agriculture. That's traffic. I'm Zach.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Calling all
Oh, man. What a great day. What a great day. By the way, if you guys ordered your Trump print yet, the link is right there in the chat, patrioticprintsusa.com. This is a beautiful print. It says up here, President Donald J. Trump for the people, 45 and 47, signed by the artist, limited edition. Great Father's Day gift. patrioticprintsusa.com. That's Prince with an S. patrioticprintsusa.com. And I pinned the link in the chat there. It's a great Father's Day gift, and it's I can't remember the exact price, but it's very inexpensive. For the largest one, oh, let me look it up. If I can look it up real quick. Hold on. That's the largest one. It's $54.99 for the largest one. So the most expensive one is $54.99. Great deal. So patrioticprintsusa.com. Today's the first day this week I feel normal. So. Being under the weather or having things going on is a good way to appreciate things when you're feeling good, I tell you.
so much better. I brought my mother there yesterday. She has a problem with her right side or her arm. She's right-handed. She feels better. It's amazing. And for people out there that are dealing with pain, believe me, there is an alternative. Go in there for the free consultation. FREE free. You will lose. The only thing you'll lose is the pain that you're dealing with. Do not suffer. Go in to see Dr. Appleton. The greatest visit of your life.
Give Dr. Appleton a call right now. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online at AppletonCairo.com. Open Monday through Saturday. Appointments not necessary. And walk-ins are welcome. 954-973-0710.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years on the air.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. One opening on the board now. President Trump released 2 new ads, Steve, after this disaster last night. Have you heard them? Well, you're going to hear them right now. I'm going to play them both. And he released these on True Social right after the disaster that they call the launch. I don't know if that's the launch or the conclusion of the DeSantis campaign, but here's the first one.
The Washington established politicians like to talk about how they can be just like Donald Trump. The truth? There's only one Donald Trump. Only one who gave us the largest tax cuts in history, who gave vets the health care they deserve, and stood up to China and protected your job. Only one who kept us out of endless wars while destroying our terrorist enemies. Only one who fundamentally changed the Supreme Court, was called the most pro-life president in history, and relentlessly protected our Second Amendment rights and our borders. Why would we ever settle for Trump imposters? Make America great again. When there's only one, starting day one, who can make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
You like that one, Steve? Did you hear the little DeSantis in there? Make America great again. He called him an imposter. That's a good... Here's the second one. I love that, an imposter. You know, that's a new term that's being used a lot, imposter. I like that. I use it myself. I'm not usually into these trendy words and things, but I like that one.
DeSantis was struggling big time in his primary race for governor of Florida. Polls revealed DeSantis was failing so bad, he was losing by a staggering 17 points. Then DeSantis was saved by the endorsement of President Trump. Trump's support was so powerful, just days after the endorsement, DeSantis took a commanding lead that propelled him to being elected governor.
I'd like to thank our president for standing by me when it wasn't necessarily the smart thing to do.
You're welcome, Ron. Unfortunately, instead of being grateful, DeSantis is now attacking the very man who saved his career. Isn't it time DeSantis remembers how he got to where he is? Make America great again. Build the wall. Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part. The truth is, there's only one person who can make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, those are both perfect spots.
All of the spots he's run during this pre-campaign period had just really shown the difference. I mean, there's an amazing difference in quality.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's showing results.
Yeah, I think.
It's more than just the spots, but I think that's a part of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The DeSantis spots are amateurish.
Yeah.
They look like they're made for a high school election.
You talking about that one where he's walking out on stage yesterday? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He goes behind the... Oh, it's very strange. Very strange.
And car accident.
Or listening to the Mark Scheinbaum radio show. Remember that show? Yeah, I know, but oh boy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Is that me?
Sounds like you.
Hi, Brian. So, it's Ryan calling from Fort Lauderdale. I just have 2 points to make. Number one, as a Floridian and somebody that voted for DeSantis, I feel betrayed. You know, he ran for governor, and he's supposed to finish his term as governor. We didn't elect him to go to Washington.
Yes.
And the second thing is, him and whoever is backing him are completely delusional. Because 500,000 never Trump Republicans do not make a nomination for president. Most of us, all Donald Trump supporters, or let me say, the Make America Great ideology, we are not going to be moved by anything all the Democrats try and do for the next 2 years until the election.
Well, listen, I want to ask you a question. Now, you've got an accent, so that means, that's not a New York accent. It's not a Florida accent. It's a foreign accent. You're very strong MAGA. I hear these people on TV saying that President Trump doesn't like immigrants. What are your thoughts about that?
Now, of course, that is insane, and that's what I tell people all the time. I'm from South Africa. Donald Trump is pro-legal immigration. So am I, pro-legal immigration. And that's the thing that people don't know the difference between legal and illegal immigration. Legal immigration is a positive for the country. We come and build. We don't take anything from the country or the government. Just look exactly what's happening in New York. Those illegal immigrants are living like kings in those hotels. They pay for Ubers, they pay for coats, they pay for the kids, they pay for everything. That is what I am against. That is what Donald Trump is against. And that is what I think the average sane American loving America is against. So it's to do with legal immigration.
That's right.
Relax, my kids to relax. We paid, I pay my dues. So yeah, I don't think, DeSantis might get, instead of 15% of the vote during the primary, he might get 25%. But there's no way that any of us are going to vote for him.
No.
Because for me, I think Donald Trump was cheated out of.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Great call. Oh. Yep.
Said something about a week ago, and it struck me again last night as I was watching the debacle, the DeSantis debacle. I'm getting the feeling, what is it they say? Better listen, you know me, I love these little catchphrases. This one of my favorites is better late than never.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to get the feeling, you heard me say this last week, I think the American people who are slow to arouse or arise, some combination of the two, I think it's starting to happen. I think these hearings that were held in Washington, I think the message is starting to get through, and I think America is starting to get really fed up. And I would point to the two recent episodes of where America has made a statement that I think they've had enough. The first is with this beer, the reaction to the beer.
Oh, Bud Light, yeah.
I mean, they destroyed the whole brand. I mean, that was a powerful brand, Bud Light. And Americans just, no one in person organized it or anything like that. Americans just got disgusted. And then they watch what's going on in the news and they see the let's just face it, it's a plot. Everything that's going on in these hearings, everything is geared to getting rid of Trump. You've got a cabal of people in government, the state, the dark state, whatever you want to call it, and Americans, and they try to pull this thing that they did with the beer thing. They tried to pull this thing with
Oh, yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you, no one that I know of organized it or anything like that, but within 24 hours they were calling coast-to-coast meetings. They were afraid the whole company was going to get...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
People are fed up. It's finally happening, folks. The beginnings of it are finally happening. And wouldn't it be nice if we woke up in time to save this country? Just may be happening now, and that ties into another thing that I've noticed.
Well, you got to hold on to that, Steve, because we got a break, and every line on the board is full. And I want to tell people quickly that this incredible train tour of Canada through the Great Canadian Rockies on the Rocky Mountaineer train, August 15th through the 20th, that this train is almost fully booked. There's only a handful of spots left, and the last few have been booking daily. So go to briantrain.com, request a brochure. That brochure has all the information you need about this incredible trip through the Great Canadian Rockies on the Rocky Mountaineer train, including pricing. And when you go to briantrain.com, you'll see the brochure link on the left. On the right, there's an incredible video that shows you what this trip is. It's beautiful. It's a bi-level train. The top is a glass dome. Every seat is unobstructed view. It's amazing. There's great wine tasting along the way, gourmet food prepared by chefs. It's an amazing trip, and it is almost completely sold out. This is a bucket list vacation. So go to briantrain.com and request a brochure. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on the...
All right, it's Gold Report time. Each morning at this time, we check in with William Youngerman at the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William, how are the metals looking today?
Exciting times for the precious metals. Reports came out today that enforce that inflation is not under control, that the economy is still pretty strong, and that the Fed is probably going to do some more tightening. The U.S. dollar index up over 104, which is all negative for the precious metals, but short term, of course, because the big picture is the system is broken, and the only fix is they haven't come up with yet. So the only protection we have is the precious metals, and that's what we're sticking with.
Yep.
Yesterday we saw gold close down $18.27 or $18.20, closing out the day at $1,957.50. Silver was down 39 cents at $23.03. Platinum was down $27 at $1,025, and palladium lost $40 at $13.85. As I said, these reports came out this morning, pushing gold down to just under $1,940. Right now it's at $1,942. That's down $15.50. As I indicated last week, the strong support for gold is around $1,935 the ounce, which I was not sure whether we get there or not, but it looks like we have tested that or come close to testing that today. So we'll see if that holds. If that holds, then we could rally back up to the $2,000 range. But as for now, it's a great buying opportunity. Whenever you can buy off of the main support areas, it's certainly time to buy in and do some scale down buying if that's possible. Down $15.50 this morning. Silver down 23 cents at $22.80. Platinum down $5 at $1,020, and palladium down $20. $1,565.
Yeah. Now, oftentimes, you guys, when you hear the gold and precious metals report, you'll hear me ask William Youngerman what the best buys are today in the different metals, as I'm about to do. And the reason I ask that question is there's some items you can get more metal for your money than with others. That's why I always ask that question. Today, gold is an awesome buy, William Youngerman. What are the best buys you have right now when it comes to gold, where people can get the most gold for their money?
Still the Australia's Kangaroo 1 ounce pure gold coins. Still the best buy in the coin form, and also we have, of course, the 1 ounce and 10 ounce gold bars and kilo bars, which can save you a lot of premium if you're buying a lot of gold. Small purchases should be built around the coins from different countries.
Yeah, and that Australian Kangaroo is a beautiful, pure gold coin. All right, guys, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can give him a call at 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. Online, williamyoungerman.com, or stop right in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building. immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, back after this.
Now the Steve King Show is on the air.
All right, only one opening on the board. Yep. Every line is lit.
I just had some things I had to get off my chest. What you're seeing these hearings are about is a work in progress. What they have been doing to Trump all along, it's all been about Trump. Because Trump is the only one who can knock off this whatever you want to call it. We suffer.
The deep state.
The deep state will do. I mean, you get the idea. It does. One thing has been established: they definitely do exist, and they are definitely taking control of, or attempting to take control of the country, rather than our elected. And they have been fairly successful, quite frankly, to this point. And the big fly in the ointment for them is Donald Trump. He's the only one that stands between them maintaining control and them being out of control. And I forget which channel I was watching last night that's talking about this, an indictment getting ready to come down.
Mm-hmm.
All fits in the same pattern. It's all coming from the same place, and they're getting ready to try it again because they're desperate. If this stuff comes out, the only one that can stop them is Trump. They know it. We know it deep down, and it's starting to affect. I remember when I said this about Bragg in New York, when the disastrous Bragg thing, I thought it was going to affect Don's campaign negatively, and it didn't. People just got pissed, and his numbers went up, not down. In fact, they've been going up ever since. It will be really interesting to see when they try this new thing next week, if the same thing happens, if it strengthens Donald's rather than
well,
the footage from Dodger Stadium.
I did not.
Oh my Lord! They showed some of the Sisters of Indecency or whatever.
Oh yes, those satanic nuns. Yes.
Being at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Baseball is a.
We lost you. We lost you for a second, Steve. It was like the Spaces last night. We lost you for a second.
This time in my life for about 4 years when my kids, Alex and Ty, the boys mainly, got interested in baseball. And we would go to Dodger, and it brings tears to my eyes just remembering it. The closest period I ever had with them, and we would go almost every game. And it was just such a great family togetherness. And when I saw some of the demonstrations the so-called gay activists were doing, from the Sisters of Indulgence, simulating oral sex and all this kind of stuff, it's disgusting. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. But I mean, if you want to go to an adult club that does this sort of stuff, I have no problem with that. But to take a family sport, and that's what it's all about. It's about disrupting the development of our youth and causing confusion in the basic institutions of this country. And once again, America drew a line. It's still, the battle's still going on the baseball front, but Americans are fed up.
Yeah.
It may, to save us, this is the battle right here.
Well, listen, before we go to the phones, and I know a lot of you have been hanging in there for a long time, and my apologies because we're short on time, but tomorrow is open phones, and we only have one opening on the board right now at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. So if you don't make it on in the next couple of minutes before the show ends, if you hang on the line throughout the day, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., you'll be first in line on open phone day, which is our, every line is now lit. So if you hold on until tomorrow morning, you'll be first in line tomorrow morning when we go live at 6. And remember, Fridays is open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything you have on your mind is fair game. Now, before we go to the phones, I want to tell everyone about my chiropractor, Dr. Philip Appleton. He rid me of my arthritis pain with his laser away pain treatment, rid me of my years of suffering from my knee pain after a skateboard accident. Most recently, he rid me of massive shoulder pain in my right shoulder with his laser away pain treatment. His laser away pain treatment works. Living with pain is not something that you should just accept. If you are suffering from any kind of pain, go and see Dr. Appleton. It's a no-charge consultation. When you tell Dr. Appleton you heard about him on the radio, all right? No appointment is necessary, and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays, okay? It works. And with the laser away pain treatment, there are no injections, no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. It's an amazing thing, and it's amazing how well it works. When I went in for my shoulder pain about a month and a half ago, I was on the verge of tears. I was in so much pain. The next morning, I woke up pain-free, hasn't returned. None of my pains have returned. You can find Dr. Appleton online at appletonchiro.com or give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. John from New Jersey.
Yep. Go ahead, John. You're on the air.
Hey, Steve. How are you? John, Brian, quick 2 comments about the DeSantis announcement. Number one, despite the technical difficulties they had, I'm not real familiar with the platform, with the Twitter style they were using, but I was wondering what your thoughts were as to an audio-only announcement. I was really disappointed that there was no video with it.
Yeah, it was stupid. This is the thing. DeSantis has this thing that Trump's too old, like Biden, right? So he was trying to be young and hip and was using this new thing. That's what happened.
Well, I thought it was a complete disaster. But the second comment is, I thought that the follow-up from President Trump on his Truth Social was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing genius behind it is amazing.
Well, he's a genius, President Trump. Hey, all right, I'm sorry to be short, but we're so little time. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning.
Hello, this is Patty.
Yes, Patty.
Hey, I know I'm only supposed to call in one time a day, bro.
Yeah, okay, well, that's twice. No, there's people who've been holding on for a long time. Call them on. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Good morning.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah, when I look at this, I listen to a little bit of DeSantis, and to me, he's like a tree, and Donald Trump is Paul Bunyan. There's no comparison. And it was almost unnatural. It was sort of like when you're listening to music and all of a sudden, somebody plays flat or sharp and you just or the nails on the chalkboard. It was just unnatural. And to me in Florida, he said he wasn't going to run against the president.
Yeah.
He did. So he once. It's just.
Let me ask JJ. Do you think Ron DeSantis can recover from that disaster last night with Elon Musk?
No, absolutely not. I don't think he can do everything perfect going forward. He can do everything perfect, no disasters of any type. He's still not going to make it.
No.
100%. I've never donated money in my life to politics, and I'm going to start donating in 24. I'm going to start donating to Trump. I've never done it. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to start to donate money in 24, second, third quarter. I'm going to be donating. And I'm not talking about $20, $30. And if DeSantis ever runs any place else after this, I don't even care if it's a Democrat that's running. He's got me so pissed off. And I don't even live in Florida. But I hate the disloyalty, the disrespect. He should be saying, Donald Trump is the one that got him there. And I hate disloyal people and disrespect. To me, I'm like Trump when it comes to that.
Well, we don't listen. We're running short on time, and I mentioned this earlier. JJ, last night, Mark Levin posted the official fundraising link for Ron DeSantis on his Twitter. Did you see this? Yeah.
I can't use the words I want to use right now because it's on radio. The guy to Levin, but I'll simply say forget him.
Yeah.
And anybody that goes against Trump right now, they're
yes.
on grata.
Forever. Forever. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, Mark Levin, never trust a never Trumper. I've been saying that for a long time, and I don't know if isn't it shocking? It's shocking. Mark Levin. President Trump has done nothing but praise that man for years. All right, callers on hold. My apologies. We're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow for Open MAGA Mike Friday. Anything and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane has been here. This is the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida, The Steve Kane Show. God bless America, and, of course, God bless Donald Trump.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales.
All right, guys, I got to run, but I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like the video.